Welcome back to the Bourbon and BS podcast, everyone. This is episode 352. We are happy to have Jake Sanders from Crown Heads making noise and back in the garage. Thank you for joining us, Jake Sanders.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, you are.
Before I knock something over.
My God. Why don't you cap that water there?
Well, it's been a minute since we had 4 people around.
It is a little more crowded in here tonight, but we're happy to have Sean Wilkinson back here, Nate Hale, and myself, Steve Crane, and we are drinking something new and smoking something.
And we are Marshall.
No, that's just sad.
It is sad.
We are drinking something new from a local distillery here. If you want to pass that down for the cork. And then we're actually smoking something from Crowned Heads that we don't know anything about, and we can't really tell you too much about. This was an idea from Jake to bring something on the podcast that is going to be out soon in about, sounds like maybe
the
4
end
to
of
6 weeks.
Yeah, the end of March.
Okay.
It'll come out in the end of March.
So this is going to be something, it is a secret, and we are going to be talking about it. So hopefully this will be something you guys can check out prior to, and then after it is released, I'll reshare the YouTube video so you guys can kind of go back and hopefully see that. So happy to have you guys all listening tonight. Take care of some business here first. Thank you to you guys doing the patreon.com/Bourbon and BS podcast. We appreciate the continued support from all of you. And then also, if you want to do a one-time contribution, we do appreciate Venmo at Bourbon and BS is how you can get that to us. Every little bit counts, but we do appreciate that continued support from you guys, as always. And then also, I want to thank our sponsors. We got Tinder Box at Easton in Columbus, Ohio. Tinder Box at Easton is going to be having a major event here, March 15th, Sunday, March 15th. Jake will be there.
Yes, sir.
With one of the Crowned Heads. He is one of 14 different vendors that'll be there. Price is $225 plus tax, and that gets you 14 cigars. It gets you brunch. It gets you lunch. It gets you access to a killer sales table where there's going to be 4 or 5 pack specials, dramatically reduced prices, just the one day only in the tent, and that's going to be samples from everyone in the tent, all the vendors as well. We're going to have some of the who's who's up on stage for Q&A session during the lunch hour. And that's going to feature Eric Espinosa. It's going to feature Amanda McAuliffe, Rainier Lorenzo from HVC, and then also George Rico from Grand Habano Cigars will be there up on the stage, and that'll be doing Q&A with all of the attendees as well. So tickets are now available. Make sure you check that out if you haven't already. I want to thank Altadis USA. You see some of their logos behind us, Monte Cristo, Romeo Julieta, and H. Upman, Trinidad, Aging Room, all of the some of their big names from the portfolio. Appreciate the continued support. Normally we have a second featured cigar from Altadis. Tonight, Jake has provided a plethora of heads products, so we will take our pick from there.
Almost the whole lineup.
Almost the whole lineup.
Jeez. I should be good for a couple working days.
And we have obviously Oscar Family Cigars as well. So Oscar Family Cigars, you will see their logo right there.
Nashville Originals.
Yes, right.
So they're dubbing ourselves, I guess.
Oh, well, I mean, kind of. Yeah.
I'm not, but.
Well, you work for
Wish I was.
Yeah. But thank you very much to Altadis USA for the continued support. Also, BS Cigar Company, the Gold and Silver are available. There'll be maybe some specials in the 10 event as well from Tinder Box at Easton, but the gold is made by Placencia and the silver is made by Espinosa Cigars. So always check them out and appreciate that. We've got a little bit more Crowned Heads. Nate's flashing the camera with some swag there. The buyjack.com/Bourbon and BS for any of the podcast or BS Cigar Company swag.
Sean's got one.
Sean's got the Barrelhead.
I've got that in my bag.
Nice. He's got the Barrelhead black camo hoodie on. I had the blue one on, but I figured I'd put some Crowned Heads swag on. Right.
That's what my thought was.
Nice.
Jake was nice enough to send me a sweatshirt because I was the only one at the Tinder Box that did not get the hoodie.
First time,
It's a very handsome.
We'll get you another hoodie.
I'm representing both.
Representing.
Yeah, you
both.
are.
All right, so let's start off with something that we actually know. What's that?
He did the peace sign.
Peace
Representing
dog.
both.
All right. Featured drink tonight is the High Bank Barrel Proof Bourbon, batch number 1. So this is something new from a local distillery. You've seen High Bank, their, I guess, core whiskey products or Whiskey War. Whiskey War. They've got some other great products as well. They are based out of Grandview, which is in the Columbus area. They've got 3 restaurants, including the distillery. There's one in Gahanna, Ohio. There's also one now in Westerville, along with a speakeasy below the restaurant in Westerville, Ohio, which is where we're based out of. This is a new expression from them. Nate, what do we got on this?
So this is batch 1 of their barrel proof bourbon. So High Bank's been around for quite a few years, and they were one of those distilleries that after they started, they did put their own distillate into barrels. But while it was aging, they obviously needed some revenue stream coming in. So they started sourcing barrels from another distillery and coming up with their own blend. So they have their 88 proof blend. They've got a barrel proof version. They've got a double oak. They've got a double oak. That is all the same kind of mash. Just each blend and each batch is going to be a little bit different flavor profile. So they were doing all that and actually winning a bunch of awards for best, blended whiskey of the year in a lot of shows and stuff like that. Last year they released their first bourbon. So 100% their own distillate, 6-year age. I think they were releasing it at about 93 proof. Just a couple weeks ago, they started rolling out batch 1 of the barrel proof of their bourbon. So their bourbon's now on batch 3, but this is the first release of the barrel proof version.
Where are we coming in proof wise?
This one is coming in at 120.2.
Really?
Sean's surprised by that.
It's interesting because the promo shots, when they released some of the promo shots on this, the bottle was saying 119 something. So
I noticed some of the pictures. Yeah.
Somebody messed up the promotion on that, considering this is batch 1.
Well, yeah, or that was the original, when they came up with it and they did a quick audible.
Is this like the new branding that they're going towards?
So when they did the bourbon, so the regular bourbon is that same label, but red.
Right.
So
it's not the same bottle, is it?
Same bottle.
Oh, okay.
It's the same bottle, but it's red and white on the label, whereas the barrel proof that we have here is green and white.
It's been a minute since I've had High Bank.
But the only thing that's changed in the Whiskey Row series is the double now has Whiskey War series is the double oak now has a purple label
instead of blue,
and because the double and double were just a tad shade of blue different.
Yeah,
darker, right?
And so it confused the hell out of people. So they've got black, green, blue, and purple. And then this is the different bottle design from the Whiskey War series, but their bourbons are in this bottle shape.
Don't forget cigar cask.
Very nice. Thank you.
That's
You
still
brought that?
Yes.
Nice. Thanks, Nate.
So I actually picked it up a few weeks ago when Carfagnas first got it in because I was like, hey, something.
You guys
I
got the first batch?
Yep. So we got in a few weeks ago, and I've had the bourbon before, and I decided to pick up a bottle. And then last week, I realized that my bottle was getting close to empty, so I bought another one. And then Steve's like, "Hey, do we have a bottle for this week?" I didn't have enough time to run by the store and get something. So I was like, well, I bought a second one of these, so let's just go ahead and use that.
What's the price point on this?
$59.99.
Wow. Pretty average anymore.
So that's one of the reasons why I actually wanted to buy a second bottle, because I was like, here you have a 6-year barrel proof coming in at 120 and it's $60. Like, yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, anywhere else it'd be 80 to 100.
Yeah.
So this is a secondary kind of a line for them, right? I mean, we've got the Whiskey War lineup, and then this is going
Whiskey War is really how they made their name. Right. They also do vodkas and gins. In fact, last year at the San Francisco Wine and Spirits competition, out of 180 vodkas submitted, theirs was voted the best vodka in the world.
Aren't they this? Do they distill and age for Horse Soldier as well? Or
that is Middle West.
I always forget.
That's Middle West, and Horse Soldier is now owned by Gallo, who's just bought Four Roses last week.
Yes, they did.
A lot of changes in the industry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which we kind of.
What was that? 352 million.
775.
Oh, okay. I'll shut up. Congrats, Four Roses.
A lot of money.
Well, it was a Japanese company that owned them before.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of changes in the whiskey world.
Yeah.
what was it? Who was the one that shut down? Jim Beam shut
Jim
down.
Beam shut down
Production
their-
for the time being. It's not
Well,
indefinite.
One of their three while they're also doing renovations.
They just shifted the production to the Booker No Distillery, which is down near Elizabethtown.
Okay.
Yeah. They have 3 distilleries. They shut one down while they also do renovations to it.
Which the Booker Distillery was only for the white label anyways. So
Yeah.
they were going to shift production there. And then what Matty Stiles told me a couple weeks ago, they're going to use Claremont as just a like tourist visitor center
Okay.
and only do, I would assume, probably single barrels out of that location once they're done. But
I don't think we're going to hear all of the facts on a lot of the stuff that we'll see going forward. I think in the next like probably 2 to 5 years.
probably not.
I think they're gonna. There's a lot of. I don't want to say a lot of slowdown, but I do believe that we saw a quick expansion, just like a lot of industries, post COVID years.
Yeah.
And I think that it's tough to project. I think, Jake, you being in the cigar world, it was also tough to project on actual growth and what's expected. There's a lot of leveling out after a couple of years of just massive expansion for some of it. And so, it's tough to say, what do you do? But
they're still building rick houses. I mean, even with like the market going down, people are still building rick houses.
I think I think they had an opportunity to everyone. I think the common take on this in the bourbon world, especially was, and I think there's truth to it, is that the secondary market was driving a lot of the sales, right? On especially some of we talked about it before on the podcast with the Buffalo Trace products, Sazerac, that kind of stuff. I think that it was, if you play the cards right, and hopefully the market will help some of these companies. Some of the small ones might go out or get bought out or whatever. Like it's pretty typical, but it might have had a chance to kind of get a reset. Kind of like have a point to catch up to the demand, even if it does decline slightly. You do have a bit. Not to speak about crowned heads, but I know there was a time where it was tough to keep up with the demand, and then all of a sudden you have to play it a little bit flexible, right? You got to be fluid with it. Where hey, let's push production to catch up, but at the same time, let's not think that this is normal. And now all of a sudden we're trying to just buy up all this tobacco and make all these cigars.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see that leveling out, but I think I'm of the opinion that I think there's going to be some growth in both of the industries that we typically talk about on this show. And I think bourbon, I hear people saying, oh, it's, the bubble has burst, but I don't think it's just like bleeding out. I don't think that it's going to be something that is going to go away completely.
I think they're still going to make a profit. I think they just realize now that not everybody can buy like 2 bottles a week at $60 a pop. I mean, like, before it was like, it was like $20, $30 average, and you could get, things like Henry McKenna and Eagle Rare and Weller and, stuff that, people really were looking for. Even Blanton's was, $40, $50, like, not long ago.
No, you're absolutely right.
And so I think now it's just much like with cigars, you see this super premium market. And oddly enough, with cigars, it's mostly very mild cigars too, which is, funny to me in a way, but that super premium market is now at, 30, 40, 50, even $100 a cigar. And it's not uncommon, to see it. So I think as long as we all like walk that fine line in this type of like luxury product, like whether it be cigars or bourbon, there's that balance between price point and quality and flavor. You can make a really expensive cigar and make it look shiny and look nice and have a really nice wrapper. But if you don't get much out of it, people aren't going to go back to it and spend that type of money. They'll buy it once, but is that really what you want?
No.
So
same thing with bottles of booze, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you get the first buy, but if you don't care for it or you don't think it's justified,
or you can't get it.
And I think that's the big change there is if I had to make a prediction on the whiskey side of this. So what's interesting to me is that, and I haven't talked to the guys over at High Bank in quite some time. I'd love to get Adam back on at some point. But it's interesting to me, this project, the regular High Bank bourbon is how much? 35?
43.
43.
43.99.
What is the regular whiskey war?
Shit.
It's
Whiskey
probably
Whiskey
there.
War, I think, is
It's more.
about 40. And then
Is that still sourced?
yes.
Okay, so
And then
this is their stuff.
Yeah, so the bourbons. So, the red and white label of this
Right.
and this is their 100% their
High
distillery.
Bank is theirs. They
All
did
the-
not just sneak in Whiskey
Yeah.
War and slowly transition. This is
Yeah,
new
because
product.
when we had Adam on a couple years ago,
Yeah.
he kind of gave the general recipe for their Whiskey War series, and essentially, and again, each batch he's specifically going for a slightly different flavor profile each
Right,
batch.
right.
But they're essentially the ratio. They're sourcing 2 barrels of high rye bourbon and then a barrel of rye and blending that together to get the Whiskey War
Right.
series. And then they do other special releases. They do special finishes. Sean mentioned the cigar cask. They just released one that's finished in a Cabernet barrel.
Yeah.
They've done some Pinot Noir barrels. They've done a bunch of different one-time release stuff.
What was the price of all the ones you just mentioned?
So
Range.
the cigar cask and then some of those other single barrels that were finished, those were usually coming in 100 to 125, and they were cask strength as well, or batch proof. So,
But see what I mean? Like it went from like,
And that's what I was going to build off. Of
yeah,
what you
go
said,
ahead.
Nick.
Yeah.
When you were saying people can't buy two $60 bottles a week or whatever it is, secondary market was driving up prices on products that were originally meant to be 30, 50,
Right.
whatever dollars. And
100%.
now they're going $200. Eagle Rare was going from like $30, $35, selling on average for $99.
And you're seeing these decanters show up again,
So you can't
like
show up.
like Calumet
So,
and like stuff like that. They're
like, that was the thing I think with this project, and again, would love to talk to Adam and the people at High Bank at some point. Where is this going to be like kind of like their own little world, in my opinion, where you have, because you can't, when they release like 4 products like within a couple months, and it's like, oh, that looks great, $115. Okay, well, I'll get that one. Oh, and the next week we're going to bring out these 2, and they're going to be 140 each. You're just
right.
like, well, so I want to support, and I love all this stuff, but you just can't afford it.
But
You
when
know
you're
what I mean?
spending
So, but they
$400 of whiskey a month, like
yeah, but they seem to be selling it. So I mean,
yeah,
it's
so-
selling, which is fantastic. So it's like they're onto something. I like to see these efforts though with their own juice and going forward with this to kind of have a portfolio where you can have success. And like for us average, more regular whiskey drinkers, but average income on far what you want to spend on whiskey, you're not dropping. I can't drop, $400, $500, $600 a month just to get the barrel releases. You know what I mean? So, but I can go out, and if this is available, I can spend $60, sip on this one. If I like just the regular High Bank bourbon, I can go out and buy it for $43. And if I run out of one of them, it's not like the end of the world. Like I was like, well, I got to pony up again $100+
Yeah,
know?
well, and like I said, the for the Whiskey War series, which is really what put High Bank on the map and got them a lot of accolades and awards. I think the black label, which is 88 proof, that one's coming in at around $40. The green label is I call it batch proof, barrel proof. That one is coming in at I think $55. Right. The double oak is going to come in at 70, and that's always going to be 100 proof. Mm-hmm. And then the double oak is going to be batch proof. So whatever that comes in, and that's going to be $100 bottle. And that's where, so right now it used to be the double, like that came out just, once, twice a year. It was super hard to get because people were eating it up and clearing shelves with it. Now we actually have that on the shelf. So that's actually become more stable and more regular.
So it's good for us consumers, not as great for the producers, clearly.
I think
so.
they're.
You don't think so? What?
I don't think that sorry, go ahead, Nate.
I think High Bank's gotten to the point where they've grown so much that they can provide enough of those 4 core Whiskey War products to be on shelves. So I don't think the double is now sitting on shelves because people no longer want to buy it.
Yeah.
I think it's on shelves now because they have made enough of it to where it can be readily available.
Well, it gives you an opportunity also to hopefully have enough supply to not really kind of disregard your local market.
Mm-hmm.
It gives you an opportunity to try to hopefully have enough supply on some of this stuff to expand it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't really expand to other states and other markets, and then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, great, let's get another order. Getting that in the cigar industry a lot too.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, yeah, that's great. It's going to be about 6 months until you get your next order. It's like, well, okay, I'll just fill it with the shelf with something else.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and some of their special releases, like their wine cask finishes and cigar cask, I really don't see those going to a lot of other states that their products are available in. I see them working real closely with OHLQ and doing some of these barrel picks that come out once, maybe twice a year.
Sure.
So to what you were saying about you can't drop, $100, $125 on a bottle on a regular basis. This is something that they're doing once, maybe twice, but they've built a reputation on quality to where there are people that when they hear there's a new High Bank cask finish barrel proof coming out, I mean, there's people waiting in line for that stuff.
No, I think it's fantastic, and I hope that it's the right mix of things as far as supply and demand there, which I think that's going to be ever changing. No matter
it's always adjusting
or cigars, but I mean, there's a lot of outside factors there and outside threats to each industry. Let's talk about this actual product. So, did you say the mash bill yet?
I did not.
Okay, let's hear the mash bill unless Sean wants to guess.
Oh, this?
I bet there's corn in it.
I bet it's a 119, 120.
Well, this
The
is
mash.
There's probably corn in it.
Well, I already said the proof.
Oh, it's like, damn it, I thought I could be ahead
a
of
little
it.
bit.
There's definitely corn in it.
And it's a bourbon, so it's got to be at least 51% corn.
Yeah, I would say.
Got it. And I didn't know what
Nailed it.
I didn't know what
One
the mash
for
bill
one.
was, so I had to ask. I actually had to message someone from within inside High Bank, so they were able to get me that information on this product.
Ooh.
Thank you.
Ooh.
They know who I'm talking about.
You allowed
I
to say
think they're
it?
listening right now.
Yeah, they are.
Uh-oh.
I would say 70% corn, 20% wheat, and 10% rye, or 10, yeah. All right, 30, yeah.
Okay.
You got the math
And I
right.
suck at this.
You got the
so
math
I'm probably
right,
not
so
even
that
close.
Yeah, but
Steve,
you're a new
I'm a newbie to
staple on
this
the
shit.
side.
I'm not pros like these
you
guys.
forgot the malted barley, but that's
I
okay.
don't fucking.
So
Is there wheat in it?
I think you
I
meant
don't think there's
10%
wheat.
malted.
There's not a four.
I-
It's
no,
not
I
a
meant-
4 grain.
I
I
meant,
would have said
sorry,
that.
I meant malted barley.
So you're saying 70 corn, 20
okay.
wheat, 10% malted barley.
Yes.
Okay.
Got it.
I am going to, because I'm getting a heck of a spice on this.
It's a high rye.
It's a high rye.
You fucker.
I am gonna go.
You're wrong.
I'm gonna go backwards here.
Sean's wrong.
Yeah.
I will go. No, I'll go normal way. 72 corn.
Oh, that's close.
I'm gonna go. I have to do the math. I always do that. I should just stick with like 5. You know what I
You
mean?
got 28 left.
Got 28 left. I'll go 22 rye.
22 rye and then 6 malted barley.
That's it.
Okay, Jake.
Thank you.
That's not a bad guess.
Well, thanks.
I should
Really?
go- I should go last next time.
I mean, I don't fucking know either. I'm just saying.
Jake's like, $1, please. Wait a second.
I'm just saying. I mean, like that's a very good educated guess. I thought.
Thank
Like,
you.
I'm just stating.
Stay with
you.
120.
What did you say? You
I
said
don't
72 corn.
He said 72, 22, and 6.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm gonna go 65 corn, 30% rye,
And then 5.
and 5 malted barley.
Okay, so I'm going to go
Survey
ahead.
says
Oh,
I'm wrong.
The closest was Sean.
What?
Oh,
No way.
Wait,
No
wait,
way.
wait. Here's why.
Okay.
Here's
Are
why.
we going off his wheat answer or are we going off the
It is
revised?
55% corn,
Oh shit.
37% wheat, 8% malted barley.
No
There's
rye
no
at all.
rye.
There's no rye in this whatsoever.
Yeah. I knew
That's surprised the shit out of
So
me.
that's just the proof
I
that
knew
we're
what I was talking
Yes.
about.
So
that the
that's
spice.
so that surprised
Do it
the
all
hell out
along.
of me because
I taste the wheat now.
I
Yeah, it's all in your
Because-
head.
we talked
It's all
about
in
the
your head.
Whiskey
So
War
sweet.
series and that being high rye bourbon and rye blended together. I was like, oh, these guys have an affinity
Do you have a
for
sixth sense,
rye.
Sean? Is that-
And so I thought there
He
was
made a
gonna be,
mistake. Hang on a second.
no, he was right though.
I know,
His,
but then he
intuition was
changed it.
right.
he said 20% wheat. He was the
I know, and
only
he
one that
changed it
guessed.
immediately to-
He was the
No, I
only
stopped
one
with
that
my
guessed
wheat.
this was a wheated.
I did the malted barley switch malted barley with rye. It said malted
not what I
barley.
heard.
But yeah, 55 corn, 30. So this is a high wheat
I hate this
product.
So did I win?
That's cool.
I gave you credit for it because you were the only one that guessed it was a wheat.
No, I would give him credit for it.
Jake
too.
was closest in the corn percentage, but
Right.
you were the only one that guessed it was a wheat.
I could have sworn that there was rye.
Again,
100%.
this is the second bottle I've had. I thought it was a high rye
It literally
bourbon as
smells
well.
rye. Like I can smell rye in it.
It has that flavor.
Well, there's none. So
But-
live with it.
So wait, hold on,
Mike,
wait.
get him out of here.
So let me ask this question.
Good job, Sean.
Need to pee again? Just get out of here.
Good
man.
job, Sean.
Well, let me ask
Lock
this
'em out.
question: has anyone else on the panel had just the regular 93 proof
No.
of the bourbon?
No.
No.
Okay, because I have. So, yes, we're drinking something that goes.
So what would you have guessed now? Like you already know what it
You already said
was.
rye.
I
But what percentage, like objectively, what would you have guessed?
I was in that 20 to 22% rye. So I was more aligned with what Steve's guess was
Yeah.
when I had gone through a bottle of this product.
What was the
Amateurs.
we had Jesus, cut his microphone. My God, he's getting cocky, man.
Don't get penisy.
He's already got someone out there, Courtney, attaboy, Sean Wilkes. He's got his own fucking fan club already.
Yeah.
CK right there.
But before you do say, I do want to give a couple shout outs, if
Yeah,
I may.
absolutely.
The Ogden Cigar Club in Cincinnati.
Nice.
Love those guys. They have a private cigar lounge in Cincinnati. Would love to take you guys there at one point in time. And then also the Cambridge
Cambridge is out there.
Cigar Club that's in Cambridge, Ohio. So
Nice.
bunch of good old boys out there that also have a private club.
Oh,
So
that's cool.
yeah.
Do you have access?
yes,
Nice.
I am a board member.
That's important. I don't know what I was going to say now.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Just want to give a
Just
shout
write
out.
that down.
No, I'm glad you did.
Sean's wrong. Right? That's
Fuck
what
that
you
guy.
wanted to
Fuck
say.
that
That's
guy,
what you
right?
wanted.
Yeah. Guy sucks.
Got us back on track.
No, I'm impressed. That was a very good guess. And it's weird though that the three of us that honestly have had different, more different whiskeys and bourbons over the years,
I would have never guessed.
I would have never guessed it.
Don't they usually though say if maybe it's a certain percentage of they say rye on the bottle, there's got to be a certain.
Sometimes they'll market it as a high rye.
Yeah, so like
High rye
Redemption,
bourbon.
they have their bourbon, then they
It's
have
that
one
because of
specifically says
MGP.
high rye
Mm.
bourbon. Generally, in the bourbon industry, high rye just refers to anything 20% or more. And then the same thing if it's a wheated, they'll say it's usually 20% or more if it's a high wheat. So like some of the new marketing behind the Bardstown label changes. People come in asking for what because there's two different ones from Bardstown that have wheat.
Are those out already? The new bottles?
Not in Ohio.
Okay.
And that could just be because there's still inventory of the old labels yet.
Yeah.
And
There's
that,
a lot of inventory.
yeah, that label change is definitely, that's divided some people on that.
It has.
As a retailer, I actually don't mind it, but
You always wonder what happened, if the glass manufacturer changed or the label maker changed or it's always something like that.
it's
that
off topic,
changes.
but real quick, I'll say that I think is more going for the casual bourbon buyer. Because if you look at all those labels on a shelf next to each other, you see Bardstown, but then you have to get real close to see that gold print to tell you which, whether it's the high wheat, whether it's the bottled and bond, whether it's the rye. If
Well,
you know the colors, great, but that's only for us bourbon nerds that know that.
It's just like us, man.
Them changing
You know what I'm
and
talking about?
It's just like Crowned Heads.
them changing and simplifying those labels where it says bottled and bond,
Yep.
high wheat, rye, and it's big and bold. The casual consumer can be 10 feet away, depending on their eyesight. They can be 10 feet away and be able to tell which product's which. I think it was geared more towards the casual consumer and not the super bourbon nerds, which make up a smaller percentage.
Well,
of
and
the
once they
market.
change all their bottles and their labels to reflect that branding, it won't matter.
Yeah.
It's just that weird phase, that transition phase is always tough. We've been doing that for the last couple years. So, and now we're finally, as you guys can see on the table.
Yeah.
To
Beautiful catalog.
yeah.
Love the new.
It's interesting too with the Mil Diaz, the original next to it.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
well,
just how different that looks, and it does.
and there's still some, paying homage, in all the new branding, not to
100%.
segue, but if you notice on all the branding, I know the folks watching this can't see it, but there's these circles on each side of the band, and it shows the old original labels.
Right, but the
I
color
love that.
schemes as well, right?
I never
color
caught
schemes
on to
as
that,
well
but
do
I
that.
absolutely love that.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Because even the Jericho,
Yeah,
I loved
noticed.
how.
Yeah.
So Nate has our old branding of the Jericho as well, and the new one, and so that shield that was on the Jericho is now on those circles that I mentioned.
I wish it would have been a white shield, but I understand why it's not.
Yeah,
I like the fact that you have that now, and it definitely helps people that are used to the old labels can go, oh, okay, well, see, they have the M right there from, so that must be, it's easier to, and they say it obviously, but it's nice to be like, is it the right one? Oh yeah, look at the M, it's the same as the original.
well, yeah, and it
The
literally,
color schemes go together.
I mean, it literally says
Right.
on the secondary band in Arial font or whatever it is, what the cigar is.
Sure.
I mean, so there's no, and I think that was the point behind, our rebrand and, kudos to John and Mike and Tim and probably Miguel as well, that kind of was working on this behind the scenes for the last couple of years to really decide what we should do. And I think that was the big eye opener when we had our sales meeting in 2024. When you looked at a wall of crowned heads, you did
So many different labels.
so many different boxes, so many
Yeah.
different labels. And
It
to
didn't even say crowned heads on the majority of them.
not on the cigars, not on
or
the,
even the boxes.
the
Like, it was-
boxes would say, on the back, but
Well, I'm saying, yeah, but on the top it would just say Jericho Hill,
correct.
and it would
Yeah.
look different than the
Then the Mil
Mil
Diaz
Diaz.
or
It was
yeah.
a completely different product every time unless you flipped it over.
Yeah.
Which the reason I'm glad is now at the humidor that I run at Carfagna's, I have been able to put everything I have in the store that's from Crown Heads, except for the Thunder Kiss, but that's because another box was too fat.
Yeah.
All of your stuff is now on one row.
Yeah.
And having Mil Diaz Maduro, La Imperiosa,
Jericho,
Tennessee Waltz. I still have the old band of Jericho Hill,
Okay.
but I've
But
got
that's still a cabinet box, so
Yeah,
that's not messing you up.
yeah, now to actually have all of those with the little insert
Yep.
right in front of the box that shows the strength, and I've got those lined up.
It's got the
in
description,
order.
the story of the cigar.
It just makes it look so much cleaner on the shelf.
Well, and it makes it easier for the retailers too, not unless you're somewhere like Tinder Box or somewhere that has a very attentive humidor staff. It makes it a lot easier for the retailers and to show the consumer, what the visual
Wow.
strength is and what the description of the cigar is. And
The shelf talkers built in is great, but I will say even in dealing with the trays like we have, I mean, you're going to have more brand uniformity. It does
yes,
still look good together.
100%.
So the marketing there, I do like the built-in shelf talkers, if you will. It does always help, as opposed to what you guys used to do and a lot of other companies would do. They'd have an insert. So the only time you'd ever see the insert is if you actually bought a complete box.
Yes.
And as someone that way back in the day, when I remember buying my first box of something, there is something special about that.
So very Cuban-esque like style.
There's something special though about
like
like
the tissue paper.
I'm talking
the-
about like you buy your first box of cigars
What's
and
in
you've been buying it.
Kyle, hand me that Mil Diaz
like
box.
cutting
you open
cutting
it
the
up,
cellophane.
You cut the cliche there.
So this is a perfect example. This
Does
is an
it have
old,
the-
this is an old Mil Diaz box, and it has
There you go.
a write up where you open
Hold
it
it up
and
a
it's
little bit for
and
me.
it's right where you see it. You
So-
open this up,
yeah.
it shows a description. It's got this little card in it, and it's a nice presentation.
The issue is that there's a lot of majority anymore in the U.S. They're not box buyers unless you're buying something you
Right.
obviously know. But
Right.
it's going to be the opposite of other places where you are buying individuals or several, and so you don't typically. And maybe differently, Jake, but from my vantage point, Nate, you're at a different shop as well. Now you've worked in different shops around town. People are buying onesies and twosies.
They're
not,
mix and matching.
They're not doing the boxes. There's been an effort.
It's got to be something
that
like
a lot of
limited
companies
or
are going
special.
to 10 counts, 15 counts because of that
Yeah,
as well.
100%.
And unfortunately, the consumer sometimes will pay for that a little bit because you're now splitting the cost of a box across 10 cigars versus
Mhm.
20 or 25.
It's all about the bottom line.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
you'll
is.
notice that, like, especially at events, like as long as you have within that, $120 to $180 threshold, as soon as you have a box that's over 200, it's always a question.
Yep.
And rightfully so. Like this is not a cheap hobby, but or cheap passion, but it's easier for a consumer to say, oh, 120, 130 bucks, 10 cigars, I can make that last as long
And a lot
as
of
they're
times
good.
you get that box discount a lot of
Right.
stores as well. So
Right.
you're buying 9, getting 1. Before we get too far down the Crowned Heads road here, we talked about the mash bill. Let's keep finishing up on this.
Can I-
What are our thoughts of the bottle? You can come back to that thought.
Okay, God damn it. All right, cool.
I'm sorry, I still have
No,
High Bank
I
up there.
know,
We talked.
I know,
We guessed
I know.
it. You're excited. You guessed the
Amy's
what do you,
here.
No.
What do
I
you
know
think
Amy's
about
here.
it?
I know he's here.
You won the game, Sean. What do you think about this bottle?
No.
Won the
I'm-
game.
You guys, no.
You get a cigar.
You get a cigar, and you get a cigar. We're just gonna sip just a little.
Yeah. Remind yourself.
I know for me,
Go ahead,
Remind
Nate.
yourself.
while Sean,
Go ahead, Nate.
well, no, while he's drinking and getting his thoughts, I've been doing that while you two were ranting over there. But no, like, well, okay, well, all right, maybe poor choice of words, but no,
you're right.
there is a kind of softness on the palate for a weeded.
Yeah.
Typically, when you talk about weeded bourbons, you talk about something that's a little bit softer, not as much spice on the palate. When you taste this, you kind of feel that softness on the palate. The spice that you get, I think, is a lot to do with the proof.
So I don't know if it was what we sipped on prior.
Got
That
it.
was 140 proof, but and not because we've disclosed now that it's a weeded bourbon.
It's definitely not a rye.
It's we were idiots.
Sean was right.
The second pour, the record already shows that.
I get a lot of like red apple.
The second pour is softer.
Yes.
I mean, it's amazing the difference.
It's pretty
Yeah.
dangerous.
Well,
actually.
sometimes you just need that to sit in a glass and kind of swirl around, kind of open up and oxidize just a little bit.
Yeah. You kind of neutralize your palate a little bit too.
Not really though.
Yeah.
I mean, it is really soft for 120 proof.
That's the
for
other
sure.
thing. Like that is one of the things. If I ever find something that's barrel proof but always drinks below that proof,
You said $60.
Yeah.
$60. $60 for a 6-year, 120
120
proof. Like that's why I bought a second one, because to me, this kind of flavor, that price point, that proof, I think that is an absolutely great buy in this market.
I agree.
I mean, because
Sean.
I've had some other stuff that is around this proof point, that 60, 70, maybe 80, but then I've seen other ones that are 90 proof or 100 or over $100. And it's like, why am I spending that when I can get more proof and less money and something I still really, really enjoy? But I think this has a great profile. Like I said, the regular bourbon at 93 proof, that's out there. It's readily available in stores across Ohio.
Are those batches as well? Like
Yes,
Adam
they are
said?
batches.
So they will be
Currently-
slightly different.
Currently on our shelf, we have batch 3 of the bourbon, and then we still have batch 1. I shouldn't say more. We have more that came in because
Yeah.
we sold out of our first delivery. So we have more of the batch 1 of the barrel proof.
Have you had the different batches of you said 93?
I've not had multiple batches. I've had
So I'm
one
curious
bottle.
if we know if Adam's trying to do a similar thing where he's altering it a little bit on purpose, or are we trying to get a similar flavor profile with these?
I think with the bourbon being 100% their distillate,
Yeah.
I think he is going for more consistency batch to batch because that is 100% their stuff.
That'll be interesting to
The
follow
Whiskey
up on.
War stuff, what got a lot of traction and attention to that is the fact that there is a little bit of difference. It's the same thing with barrel craft.
Yeah. I just didn't know if that was part of this, project.
Yeah.
Because
No.
that was more with the double oak or double oak, not as much with the Whiskey War core product, if I recall. Right?
Say what
Just the plain Whiskey War.
is
He wasn't trying to vary as much.
no, he was.
Oh,
And
So-
back to
so-
you, Sean.
So even though it's
Is
a
it even on now?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So even though it's a blend of high rye bourbon and rye,
Yeah.
Adam talked about this last time he was on the show, which I think was 3 years ago.
yeah. I thought
But
we were talking
he-
more about the double.
He does want a little bit of difference from batch to batch,
Right.
not necessarily going completely off the rails.
Mhm.
But there are some people that will sit there and be like, "Oh, this batch was one of the best," and they go
Yeah,
out there and they
you're
buy
right.
that up. And with the double oak, there's a little bit more consistency because you're getting 100 proof every time with the double oak.
Yeah.
With the green label barrel proof, and then with now the purple label
Double.
double, those are always a barrel proof version.
Yeah.
So there are going to be some differences.
Variances, yeah.
Even the cigar cask, which is finished in the Amburana,
Mhm.
they've done 3 batches of that, and those are all batch proof. You're still finishing in that Amburana, so you're still getting that
Yeah,
same
there's some
flavor
sort of
profile.
similarities.
There's I think it's been maybe 3%
See,
variance.
that's what I thought. Amy's got my back on this one. A little bit.
A little bit.
Can I
With
talk?
So
Whiskey
she's,
War-
yeah,
Whiskey
we're still
War-
waiting for Sean's.
No, it's okay. You can keep
tasting.
Do
talking.
you remember what you wanted to talk
Hang on.
about?
Whiskey War Black Label is consistent. Whiskey War Barrel Proof will vary. That's kind of what I was asking is the core product. I thought that it was going to be more consistent, like I don't want to say like your Jim Beam, but I mean it's like that kind of like that's your core product. So when you buy a bottle of that, you're going for you're getting. The other ones you got a little bit of variance there. Sean,
Yeah.
we ran out of time. Sorry.
Sure.
Sure.
Sounds great. I'm just gonna go start playing Angry Birds over here.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the bottle, Sean?
The bottle I like a lot. I agree with Nate that I was getting like a very crisp, fruity note on the nose and then on the palate was like a red apple. I think it's what I was trying to figure out. So I agree with you on that, man. It's and I'm surprised at how every time we get a freaking, whether it's a cigar or a bourbon, where you think it's like a lower proof and then it's spicy, where you get 120 proof. And yeah, there's some spice on the back end, but it's not, peeling paint off the walls kind of thing. It's it's a very comfortable and reasonable like finish where you're actually getting the flavor of it and not just being burnt chemically down your esophagus. So
We did have a 140 proof primer.
yeah, and I think that helped.
It helped a lot. See, it was a primer.
That helped.
Great primer.
Primed the shit out of it.
It'll prime your
Because-
lawnmower.
Yeah, I mean, I think that took away a lot of maybe the heat that I had previously to allow me to catch a lot more of the flavors on
Glad
the
I could
palate on
help.
the finish. I appreciate that, Jake.
You're welcome.
But yeah, it's still amazing though how you can have such a high proof and it still sometimes not be as intense or
And
vice
only a
versa.
6-year too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was I'm very pleased with it. It's not, and we've kind of been on the I would say the lower side in the past few episodes where in terms of proof and it's you don't get as much
Last
spice.
episode was 100.
Yeah, it's been like 100 or maybe less, but
Yeah.
nothing like this. But I'm glad to know that there's products out there that you can, if you see that, a lot of people may, if they're worried about the hard finish, that they may steer clear of that. But I think if people are listening, it's like don't always base what you think it is on a number.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on check reviews out, get people find out what the flavor profile is through the company itself or what other people are catching, and how much of a burn there is. So,
Listen to Bourbon BS podcast. Listen to Sean.
yeah,
That's right.
hashtag wheat motherfucker.
He's gonna rub that in your guys'
Hashtag Weeded Wednesday.
Yeah.
All right, Jake.
Also, I think I'm going to raise my hand next time I have to say something that we just see me.
That's perfect.
Okay,
We
perfect.
don't want to listen to either.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but if any one of us raised
Why are
our
you
hand-
looking at Jake?
And here we go, Nate.
All right, Jake.
Oh, me now.
What are we smoking here? Tell us everything about it.
Okay, I can't tell anything
Damn
about it because this was I just wanted to do something cool. It's been a minute since I've been on, but and thanks for having me back on.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for being
And
here.
so and Steve let me know. So congrats, Sean, on being part of the
show.
thank
show
you.
as
Yeah.
far as a formal consistent guest,
Thank you.
right? That's pretty cool.
Put in my
Co-host.
time, man.
Yeah,
Put in
that's
my
pretty
time.
awesome.
Co-host.
Yeah.
Yeah, now there's 3 hosts to say.
That's-
It's an honor,
And,
it's an honor to be here.
Even though he's in the middle, he's third chair.
Still
No.
ignore me. Okay, go ahead.
This is,
So,
this is
I
definitely 120 proof.
I wanted to bring something cool. I know it's probably easier to have something that is new. I mean, the only thing that we do have new, because with it being the slow season, being the beginning of the year, we did come out with Thunder Kiss, which is a value prop, a value format that we brought in the late November, early December.
It's so good.
We can't keep it in stock at all. It comes in like a 10-pack with like brown paper, almost like what you would see from a factory.
I
and
now put it in a box in my humor.
yeah. And we kind of let the retailers do their thing on that, but it is nice because it's $67 for a 10 count pack. 65.70 or something like that.
Yeah, with OTP and shipping and stuff, I think
Or
I have,
67.50. Yeah.
I think I have mine at $7.99 a stick, so $79-$80 for
Yeah,
a 10
yeah,
pack.
yeah.
Which nowadays, I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's a hell of a
It's
bargain.
a budget cigar. It's a budget
Yeah.
cigar. But that's not what we're talking about tonight. But I just want to let everybody know that like that's kind of the newest thing. Unfortunately, I don't have any here, but I did kind of bring out
everything
the
else.
stop and showcase, you know, what these guys have on the table. But what they are smoking, I didn't know that Sean had been upgraded to co-host, so I only brought 3, and so I'm not smoking one, but I have had it. It's one of my favorite cigars that we've ever come out with. We did it last year in a single format. And so we wanted to bring it back in 2026. This will release in late March for us. Unfortunately, not in time for the 10 event at Tinder Box at Easton, but I love this cigar. It's made at the Pichardo, Takanixa, and a couple other names that it's changed to here and there. But Aradio Pichardo's factory, the same factory that we use for Mil Diaz Maduro, Blood Medicine.
That makes a lot of sense.
Thunder Kiss, and a few others that we've done in the past, so that are no longer available. But I hope you guys really enjoy it. This is a 6x54 as far as the format scale. That is, I know the Toro range for a lot of companies in the cigar industry are
50 to 56.
Yeah, it can range from like 6.5 to 50 to 52 to 54, whatever. Our Toro is a 6x54 pretty regularly. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I got to smoke a different size in this and absolutely loved it. And I love the one that we did last year in it too. So
this will come out like 3 or 4 sizes.
I can't say it right now, but
yeah, I mean, that's your typical MO for you guys with this at this point.
I think
if it's a regular staple,
I think it's when we've caught fire on something that people really love. And we do want to still hold on to, I think I can speak for John and the rest of the company when I say this, but I think we still want to hold on to that boutique limited style of things and bring something really nice that to our consumers and our retailers that we know that works. But also keep the imagination alive in it, with changing the vitolas and the sizes and maybe changing a wrapper leaf here and there. But still holding on to that brand as a whole in that
Can you
name.
say if this is a regular production?
It is not. It will be a limited edition.
Oh, this is limited release. Okay.
This will be a limited release. I asked John personally for these. They came in today.
Thank you, John Huber.
Yeah. And they literally arrived at 3 p.m. That's what I was waiting on.
Nice.
And if I would have known that Sean here had been upgraded, I would have brought 4 because I would have loved to smoke this size with you guys. But I hope it's smoking well. The wrapper leaf looks phenomenal. I can smell it from where I'm from Steve's cigar.
I'm gonna say this is very aromatic, but not like an aromatic cigar. It's just got a lot of aroma to it.
And the wrapper is it's like velvet. It is so smooth.
A lot of sheen to it.
It's got some sheen
got
to
the
it.
crystals in it.
But I also appreciate you saying what other cigars you guys have that come out of this factory, because before you even said that, while I'm smoking this, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, there are so many elements of this that remind me of Thunder Kiss and Mil Diaz. And so you saying, oh yeah, this is coming out of the same factory that makes those cigars, it completely clicks.
Yeah, I think Radio Pichardo's we've worked with him for a long time now, and I think it's like, he's pretty much not just exclusive for us, but we rely on him for a lot of things, and I think he supports us very heavily. So when we need something, he works with John immediately and gets things out, and that's why you guys are having these samples right now. So it's very, very cool. I think he specializes in certain things very well. There's other things that like anybody else, things can be worked on, but there's certain things like this one in particular, the Mil Diaz, even the Thunder Kiss, that he specializes really well in those medium body cigars and the wrappers for those cigars.
Yeah.
This
is
construction is beautiful.
Construction is beautiful.
Burn
The draw is fantastic. This one, it's got tons. When I say it's aromatic, like on the nose, it is like with the smoke coming off, like you said, you can smell it. It definitely has a nice aroma to it. It's not going to be. When you talk about like the Mil Diaz, Thunder Kiss, I've had a couple of them, but I've smoked several Mil Diaz over the years. Well,
100.
This doesn't have the spice that I think Mil Diaz carries. A little bit of spice in the undertones.
Mm-hmm.
This one is predominantly for me, and I don't know, you guys chime in here, but it is very like bready and woody. and it is very food flavor forward. There's not spice to it, but almost like a little bit of like baking spices,
like
to
cinnamon. There's like a cinnamon,
little cinnamon, but it's
thing.
not spice. It's not like a.
It's not a pepper.
There's nothing there.
Like
on
nutmeg.
That. Nutmeg, like those types of things, right? You know, it's like those types of spices. But when I say like bready, it's like baked goods type of a flavor.
Savory.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at with it. Nate, how about you?
Glad you like it.
The one of the things I noticed as soon as I lit the cigar up, right when we went live, the amount of smoke that comes off this cigar. Like typically when we talk about the kind of smoke I'm getting off the cigar when I draw, typically is reserved for something that's a broadleaf.
Right.
Because we'll sit there and just that cigar will just plume smoke as it's just sitting in an ashtray. But the amount of smoke that comes into the palate.
Well, you can see it in the garage here.
Well, there's also 5 of us smoking. But no, the amount of smoke in this thing is just absolutely tremendous. There's a ton of smoke. Medium body, I think. Like I think this is straight down the middle.
Straight medium.
Medium body. But yeah, it has some of those softer undertones. It doesn't have black pepper.
Right.
Maybe some of that softer white pepper notes to it. If you're someone who retrohales a cigar, there's not that astringent spice that sometimes you can get off something. It is soft, and through the nose, I get more of those bread and baking spices that Steve's alluding to. On the palate, it just kind of it just sits there, and it's very, very pleasant. Like the smoke on the palate's welcoming. Like, hey, here's what I am. Give me a big hug.
Yeah, like I'm smoking the Mil Diaz original, which is funny enough, which is the same size as you guys are smoking. And same factory too, but different cigar, all nonetheless. And I can smell Steve because the way the wind's blowing, I can smell Steve's over what I'm smoking. So yeah, I totally get what you guys are saying. That's awesome.
I think it's like the smoke. It reminds me of like when you walk into somebody when they're smoking a cigar. It's like that's what you think that smoke should always smell like. It's got that original. Just there's something about that smoke that brings me back to like this is going like back to basics. And there's like this just if I weren't smoking right now, I'd be craving it like crazy.
Makes me want to smoke.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god, I need this. You know,
notes.
If somebody's smoking this by you, you want to say, I want to have whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
You get that on the palate.
Yeah, I get that on the palate.
Because there are times I've smoked a cigar, or not smoked. I've smelled a cigar
but I've smelled
before I ever lit it. Like there are times I've smelled just an open foot of a cigar, and be like, that smells like what tobacco should smell like.
Yeah.
So you saying that, like it definitely kind of clicks.
It's that and the smoke itself from somebody else smoking it when you're not. And if somebody were to grab you, hand you one and do the smell, you're like, okay, that fits exactly what I think a real cigar should be. Like it's like, I don't know. I like things that are sometimes just so almost simplified to where it brings you back to this is why I started smoking.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff that makes me appreciate what I have now and what all the other cigars I've tried.
Love that.
And I love what I've tried, all this time I've done it, but to bring it back, it's like, oof. Yeah.
I love the way you phrase that.
Well, and I think that shows, I think it shows that like when Radio Pichardo, what he can do with his own tobacco. Because like this wrapper leaf and the Habano that we use on the Mil Diaz is his tobacco. A lot of, there's some factories that have their tobacco. There's some factories that, they'll source stuff.
And you're not even allowed to say if it's Nicaraguan, Honduran. You can't say
I'll say it's Nicaraguan.
Okay.
It's Nicaraguan grown.
Okay. The wrapper.
Yeah. But yeah, just not the name yet. John's very adamant about
that's fine.
His press releases.
We don't want you to get in trouble.
John's very adamant about his press releases. And I think that, us in-house reps, I think, we've kind of gained his trust, now that we've all kind of been under the veil, so to speak, for a certain amount of time.
You guys don't have a lot of turnover.
No. And it shows. I mean, and there's a reason for that. But with this, it's, we've gained the trust. Like John's like a very passionate man. He's very, has a lot of integrity. He's very loyal. And so like, that's why you guys are able to smoke this right now. And that's why I felt comfortable asking him for these. Cause I just wanted to I know that I love this cigar, even though that I haven't gotten able to smoke this size, but I'm just glad that I can share it with you guys.
What size did you smoke?
I won't say.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Stop
I
asking
think
questions.
you reflect how John is like how he is like you are when you're, when I've seen the 10 events and when you've done some other events that I happen to be at, you have a passion about you. Like I can see that he does in terms of just number one, being able to like give somebody a cigar to try. I think that's a great, sometimes you don't always get that, but you're always at the ready to say, hey, try this, or, hey, I got one for you. And that goes a long way for people, I think, just in itself. But then showing like, well, shit, you got a fucking tattoo on your hand from with your brand name, right? Is that right?
Unrelated.
Oh,
no, it is. I wanted to do our crown, which is funny because for those watching on the feed, you'll see above me that the crown actually changed.
Oh,
so this crown is what's on Nate's sweatshirt and Steve's sweatshirt.
You know what?
So you have to get
an OG though.
Yeah. So
It's a CH, though.
So you got to get the tattoo on the other
I
hand.
mean, well, I didn't want to do the brand because at least this, if God forbid anything happens or I piss John off, or Tim,
But, I mean,
All right, just stop.
that
to build you up right
then
now.
I could be I could just say it's a crown.
Well,
You know what I
or
mean?
years from now when you're still with the company, like this is like how long you've been with the company.
Yeah, that too.
Exactly.
And
I
then
think OG,
and then we do our
shit.
rings. John gets all of his jewelry done through.
What size is that ring again?
This is a 17.
That's it.
But anyway, what I was saying is
Jesus.
everybody goes on Tinder. Everybody's like
Custom.
fucking ADHD here.
Back to you, Sean.
Squirrel. No, but I think that I've, being at some of the events outside of Smoking 10 event and stuff, you engage the people, you connect with them. And I think you are a perfect fit for them. And I always have, when I see this label, these labels or these, anything like the M right here and anything, it's like, I know I'm good. I know there's not going to be a situation I'm like, well, that fucking fell apart or that doesn't taste like what I thought it would be. It's consistent. And you're always trying to find something different and to move forward in an industry where people kind of sit back on what they have and just stick with that. But I love the fact that you guys are adventurous that way too.
Well,
thank you.
and
Thank you.
to piggyback off what you just said, Sean, that is one of the reasons why a couple weeks ago when at work we had a whiskey rep come in and bring in some new product and sample us on some product. They had mentioned like, hey, we're actually going to have the founder of this brand in town. Like we're going to be traveling around with them. Like, do you guys want to do a tasting or something? And immediately the gentleman I work with that actually runs all the liquor stuff on the side of the business, he looks at me and goes, what do you think about doing a cigar dinner? I was like, yeah, we can definitely do a dinner with this. Let me reach out to one of my reps. Jake was the first person and the only person I reached out to. Like, I looked at the calendar and I was like, all right, here's 3 dates.
Sure.
What are you available for? And Jake said, I'm available for this date. And I was like, cool. Let me go make sure it's okay with the whiskey people. Got a cigar dinner on the calendar.
Nice.
Go get it,
And
June 3rd.
June
right?
3rd.
Yep.
Don't have all the details. Tickets
At
aren't for sale
Carfagna's.
at Carfagna's.
Nice.
Tickets aren't for sale yet. Just got to work with the kitchen. Like we already have a drink menu. I've already got the cigars picked out. We just got to have the kitchen come up with a first course and second course because we already have a dessert picked out.
Excited for that.
So,
Could have this one.
but no,
Yeah,
I mean, Jake, the way Sean described how Jake is with customers, like I've done 2 events. I've done 2 cigar dinners at Carfagna's and I'm the only one that's been there talking about cigars. But as soon as this came up and having a founder of a whiskey brand there with some other products, the first person I thought of was Jake, because I know not only is Jake passionate about cigars, he's also passionate about whiskey. And so I think this is a small enough event. Like I think Jake is going to do well. And that speaks to the kind of person he is.
Yeah.
And selfishly, it's a treat for me as well.
I mean,
like don't act like I don't love
No,
doing that,
you
especially with
you can see that though. Anything that when you talk about cigars or bourbon, man, you light up, whether it's about this or anything else, just in general. And I love people who have that passion. That makes their life and their job and their career so much more enjoyable.
Well, it makes my life a hell of a lot more enjoyable because
yeah,
more enjoyable. So it's and I'll to throw the kudos and the gravitas another way. I mean, I owe pretty much all of that to when I started at the Tinder Box with Steve and Brian. I mean, everything that I learned from the customer service aspect to, at the beginning, it was Steve, Todd, Ron, Ryan, Newman, myself, and a couple others. It's just, I think the way that Tinderbox has always done it, and I always speak to them or about Tinderbox and Brian and Steve and what they've kind of formulated over the last like 20 years, is that it's a different atmosphere. It is a small place, but the way that customer service is working in today's society, you just don't get that same type of recognition as a consumer. You don't get that greeting. You don't get that type of service. And that has been held all the way through, in my opinion, for them for the last 20 years. Oh, yeah. And then when I moved on, I literally took all those principles and values and taught my team at Burn, and then even going towards like tried to amplify those values in myself when I was on the road. It's just, how can you give service to consumers? You want people to spend their money. You want people to not just spend their money, but also like create a legacy for yourself and the brand. Why would you want, even if you're having a bad day, why would you want to be a pain in the ass? Like, we all have problems. Like, you think the last thing that someone wants to listen to when they come into a cigar shop is listening to me bitch about how some guy cut me off on the way here? Like, like I always like listen, and not to get off on this rant, but it's like Alicia and I were just talking about this today because we had an early dinner over here at Easton real quick before I came over here. Is just service is dead. And
oh yeah, I see it.
And it's more than just a bitch fest. It's more than just a rant. It's just the fact that people just don't want to give service because of either stuff that's going on in their life or other consumers that have come in and ruined their day, or they can't pick up where they left off. They let the world beat them down, and I just refuse. And I do, I'm human, so I do it too. But like you guys said, like, I try to just be that little shine of light in this industry, because this is fun.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes there's a pain in the ass, but with certain retailers, but I mean, this is fun. It should be fun. Well, we're enjoying each other's time. We're enjoying, and if you don't like I mean, this is always my test. When you're hanging out with people, you'll know when someone doesn't like you because they won't sit next to you and light a cigar with you. People like you when they sit down and light a cigar with you. And that's the test.
And that reflects amazingly on Tinderbox, because not only does everyone like that are regulars there and hang out love the atmosphere and make friends and stuff, but it's also like, I think we all have this feeling when, or times where like the guys are busy and then somebody walks in and I'm so tempted to be like, hey, how can I help you? Because I want to be, because I'm excited.
The big family.
That happened to me before I ever started working at Tinderbox.
And that's something that like people love to come there as much as they do, because not just the community and the people that they're with, but we're also welcoming to anyone. I mean, like there's times where we sit in the back in those other chairs. If I see somebody kind of stand there, I'm like, here, take my chair. I want you to meet these people. I want you to see what this is all about here. It's not just smoking a cigar. It's about getting to know people. And they have the perfect formula for that. And the fact that they want to be able to try to help the staff when they're overwhelmed is, you don't get that a lot of places.
And it's a reunion.
Yeah.
Every time.
And when I'm struggling and I come in there, I walk out so much happier.
Yeah.
Whether it's mentally or whatever I'm dealing with, I can just be so much happier.
Yep. I agree. It's awesome.
It's really nice to hear, guys.
You guys are so you guys are halfway through. Has it changed at all? The cigar?
Nailed it. It changed it. It's a little bit stronger on me.
Has it changed for you, Steve, at all?
It built up. It built up quite a
There's
bit.
more
actually.
spice now, or
Yeah, so there's more spice. You get it's not quite tongue bite, but it's now heated up a little bit. Where
Oh, okay.
so, but no, in a sense of building, I think it brought some spice to it. Definitely on the palate. That's why I say it's not tongue bite. It's kind of flirting with the
Heavy, savory.
so it's not as soft. It's not as the
Yeah.
food flavors have kind of taken a background to
Straight
more of
tobacco.
straight
Yeah.
tobacco.
After
You're
I
absolutely right.
blow out the smoke, the next few seconds I can feel kind of a tingle develop on my tongue. Like there's something about the smoke that sits around and just starts building even after I've blown the smoke out.
Actually, in your line, based on what we talked about, it actually is starting to hit a stage where if it was a bigger cigar, if it did continue to transition, you're now approaching a little bit more Mil Diaz type of a not spice, but I feel like a little bit more body to it.
Yeah. Are you
Honestly.
all right?
Yeah, sorry. I'm
See,
doing
it's funny you say that because to me, when I describe the Mil Diaz, like I feel like the Mil Diaz is like on the lighter side of medium, but it's a very clean smoke. This has something that kind of just sticks around and hangs out
Yeah.
a little bit longer than the Mil Diaz.
It is clean. The Mil Diaz for me, typically it's construction. There's a little bit more of a firmer draw in my typical experience with the Mil Diaz.
In this, or
No, in the Mil
it's
Diaz.
firmer?
Firmer in the Mil Diaz. This
Got
has a little airier draw. It could just be the prototype.
Even in
one.
the bigger size?
Yeah. Well,
In the Mil
so
Diaz?
I agree.
I will say this: this is Sublime.
Yeah. That's
So
654.
we don't
same
carry
size.
the Sublime as much. We carry the Double Robusto, I believe it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm more used to smoking that 50 ring gauge of the Mil Diaz blend. This is where it's starting to resemble that. This is the draw is still there as far as being a little bit airier, but I just think that it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit more spice to it.
Yeah.
As you get
100%.
through it.
We were going to turn it over to you, Sean.
All right, buddy.
This
We'll
man,
start. Stretch it out, man.
this man's got a bladder the size of a walnut.
It's
All right. So rating time. This is as we round out part one of the show. We're going to do the whiskey, the cigar, and the pairing here. Again, we can't disclose what the cigar is. This is going to be it's an unreleased Crowned Heads product, and it'll be released as a limited edition. Is what we can say
in late March.
Late March. So we're looking at hopefully about 6 weeks tops here. You'll see this start being on press releases as well as shipping to stores to you guys out there. So 10 is the best for any of these ratings. And we'll start with Nate on this since Sean is unavailable.
All right. So on the whiskey, the High Bank batch 1 of their barrel proof, again, 100% their distillate, not sourced. I'm gonna give this whiskey an 8.75. 8.75. I really do enjoy this bottle. Like I said, I bought this bottle because I do like High Bank. I've had their regular bourbon, and when we got this in, I definitely want to get the barrel proof because Steve knows me well enough. I love high proof stuff. So does Jake. Like, we almost can't get enough proof.
I'm a proof whore.
Yes. I've been accused of that myself. And when I finally cracked open that bottle, to have something that's 120.2 this price point, I think it's an absolutely great buy. I was surprised when I found out it was a weeded. I was not. I was not expecting that. Like, if all four of us had to blind guess it, Sean would have been the only one that guessed wheat.
I'm just surprised they didn't market it as that. You would think in like this stage in the game, meaning the whiskey industry,
it might turn them off.
It could turn. Yeah, exactly.
People that don't like the weeded stuff, they may not touch it.
Okay, so you think they wanted to be like agnostic about it?
But I also think like on their regular Whiskey War series, they don't put on there that it's a blend of high rye bourbon and rye.
Oh, okay. So that's their MO.
So they're not disclosing whether this is a high wheat bourbon either.
Got it.
They're just putting something out there and be like,
this is a bourbon.
Hope you guys like it.
Yeah.
And I think this is something, as I've had this, I've been able to sell it to more customers.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of people that sit there and they're looking for bourbon. I'm like, oh, have you had the the new thing from High Bank, and all they know is whiskey war, and they're like, no, like you've really got to try this. Like when I tell people it's a barrel proof for $60, like that catches their attention because there's a value perceived there. And like I said, to me, this was good enough that before I ever finished the first bottle, I bought a second. And you
guys still have this?
Yeah. When I was at the store yesterday, we still had a few bottles of it.
And when did it come in?
Friday.
So it's brand new.
Yeah. Well, we got it. We first got it in 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And then we got more of it in.
More or less.
Then we got more of it in last Friday.
Weird question. What is it? A 12 count case or six?
Almost all the whiskey from High Bank is a 6 count case. The vodkas are 12. I think the gins are 12 as well. But the whiskey and the bourbon are 6 packs.
Cool.
What do you think about the cigar?
Cigar, I'm going to give the cigar an 8.5. I do enjoy the cigar.
Does it go with the whiskey?
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Well, that was going to be my,
Sorry.
the third rating, the pairing.
My bad. Skipping ahead.
Just listen.
You have to be quiet. Remember?
I'm sorry.
But no,
You have to raise your hand.
but no, I do enjoy the cigar. As soon as I lit it up, the amount of smoke I was getting off of it. Like I said, we talked about it. I think we're all in agreement. This is medium body. There's good flavor. The crazy thing is, I don't think there's a particular flavor note that stands out on the cigar. It's just kind of all encompassing. There's those baking spices. Steve alluded to some bread notes there. There's not a lot of, there's no pepper spice to the cigar. I think this is definitely a cigar that whether you're a seasoned cigar smoker or a casual cigar smoker, light cigar, heavy cigar, this is definitely something that you can enjoy, whether it's your first cigar, last cigar, only cigar. I think it's definitely something that all consumers can definitely enjoy, even though it's going to be a limited product. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
With the pairing, even though I give the whiskey an 8.75, the cigar an 8.5, I'm going to give the pairing a 9. I think, and the reason I give it a 9 is neither one of these products takes away from the other, regardless of what order you go. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of times when we do these pairings where we'll talk about going whiskey to cigar is better or going cigar to whiskey is better. Yeah. But there's not a lot of times lately where we've talked about it doesn't matter which order you go in. Neither one of these is trying to overpower and compete with the other. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily amplifying one another, but they're not fighting each other. If I smoke the cigar and then immediately go to the whiskey, it doesn't change how the whiskey tastes. If I go from the whiskey to the cigar, it doesn't change how the whiskey tastes or how the cigar tastes. So I think this is one of those happy accidents. We didn't know what we were getting into with a cigar. I'm the only one who's had the bourbon. And it just so happens that these two actually go really well together.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Sean, how about you?
Yeah. Fun following that.
Raise your hand.
Okay. So
it's not a contest.
And back to Sean.
Yep. You have 30 seconds. All right. So the bourbon, I was with you now, pretty much close to you with the bourbon and the pairings, or all of them. 8.5 on the bourbon. Again, surprisingly, a very pleasant taste. Just the whole from the beginning to end. It's just very flavorful. I enjoy that apple taste. I really get a lot of the baking spices and the bread notes on the retrohale. So 8.5 on that. The cigar, I'm giving it a 9 as well. I love it. I love that. I call it the journey of the cigar. I always say that because
I love that.
When you light the foot and you work your way up, everything starts to change. And I love that about the cigar. It's very distinct. So yeah, 9 for sure on that. I mean, I can't wait till it comes out. Honestly, I'm going to be on first in line. No.
And the burn time has been pretty good because we've been 1:16, an hour 16 right now, and you guys just lit it up when we first started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for a Toro, and you're last third, probably like last inch and a half.
Well, and I typically smoke faster than what Steve and Sean do.
Yeah, and Steve's pretty fast on this one.
Well, I've been letting you guys talk.
That's true.
Really?
Yeah.
You think?
You don't think?
And back to Nate.
I'm fucking with you. I'm fucking with you.
Watch the tape. Watch the tape.
Check tape. Check tape.
I'm just over here as the host.
I did rock in high school. You want to check tape?
Yeah, check tape. Check tape.
Let's watch film.
I don't know what the fuck was that?
Cigar.
I did
Cigar.
the cigar.
Cigar's
It was
great.
a 9, loved it. Yes. The pairing for me, I'm gonna give it a 9 as well. I did get a little bit difference when I did one or the other. If I hit the cigar first and then took a sip of the bourbon, I got more of the flavor on the palate, more enhanced. It was more the flavor stood out. What I loved more though was taking a sip of the bourbon and then hitting a cigar on the retro. That to me enhanced, like on the retro, it was like you when you do it by yourself, it's like, yeah, you definitely get the hint of the baking spices and stuff like that. But man, when you do both and you do the bourbon and then the cigar, that just blows it up even more. That's why I was like, really, I was like, wow. And you're like, what's going on? I'm like, you're like, what's wrong? And I was going to say something, but then you guys kept talking. No, I'm busting chops.
Never gonna let that go.
He gave me shit for the wheat. So,
You're wrong.
No. But I got that I love when you can really, for me, see a very distinct difference when you do one or the other, either way. And this is one of those that definitely for me, it really enhanced those flavors. And that's something that I really appreciate, because you really get now I'm getting the taste. Like sometimes it's a little subtle. No, that shit will like light it right up. And I understand why it's 120 proof, and I didn't think it was too bad. But when I got up to use the restroom, I was like, holy shit. All right, there's the 120 kicking in. So
Getting an Uber.
yeah, so
Yeah,
it's but no, I love the pairing. I love the cigar. I love bourbon. It's definitely something I would like to get down the road. And cigar for sure once it's available, because I love doing this kind of stuff, man. I love having, like, trying to figure out what it is, what it could be. But the only thing that drives me nuts about you guys is that you make these incredible cigars, and you're like, yes, this is going to be one of my go-tos. And you're like, oh, it's only limited. I'm like, what? I like
sons
this.
of bitches.
Yeah. You're a bunch of teases, man.
Right. But if it's an annual release that's limited.
Well, at least I can look forward to it each year. But yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. At least you told me that. Now I can feel a little better.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I mean, so many things for me that come out of that factory that Crown Heads has, they seem to go so much better with whiskey than some of the others that come out of other factories.
Yeah.
There's
You think so?
There's just something about what comes out of that factory.
Out of the Pichardo
Just-
factory.
it goes so
That's cool.
well.
I'll have to tell him that.
It sets a precedent.
If I could speak Spanish.
And I think that Google Translate's good. I think that this could be a good, like, when you ever want to know what a good bourbon is with cigars, I think this would be like a go-to, or sets the precedence for, like, try Crown Heads with it first off, and then work your way to different ones and see if some may be better, some may not. But I think this is a good one to start with.
Yeah.
So
Hell yeah. Love that. Thank you.
Jake, give us your rating on the whiskey, since you haven't had that.
Yeah.
As the most experienced,
This-
honestly, with your. No, I mean, seriously. I mean, you've got the most depth, I'd say, on that, even over Nate.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not going to argue
it's
that.
not I mean, literally, like,
Yeah.
you've been into it longer and heavier, I think, than any of us.
I'm just like still surprised with no rye in this mash bill. I think maybe the proof, even with our high proof primer that we had before we started the podcast tonight, the proof fooled me. I really thought that there was a high rye mixed in with this, but now that we know that there's wheat in there, that explains the softness that we're all experiencing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess just the mellowness with 120 proof, and I think I'll explain like why I'm a proof whore is because I know that, like, I'm not a master distiller and the master distillers are making this stuff, but it's just nice to be able to have that choice as a consumer, right?
Mhm.
If I want to put you know, because I'm not prideful of like having to drink this straight like I used to be, you know, like I was always like, it's got to be straight, you know, you're not a, you know, whiskey guy if you don't drink it straight. But
That's your tough voice.
yeah. But that was my Steve voice. But
Shit, that's funny.
You need a little more bass.
yeah, I need Rob Wilson here.
He's got more bass than all of us.
Yeah. And so, but
Volume.
with the and volume, but with this, I like being able to be, you know, put a big cube in it, you know, or you know, whatever, and ice, and like being able to have that choice. And I'm really impressed with the fact that it, you know, it's an average anymore. This is an average price bottle. You know, with it 6 years. I mean, how long have they been around for?
They've been around for at least 10.
Yeah.
Like when it comes to Columbus distilleries, Watershed's really the OG,
right?
And they've been around, I think, since 2010.
Okay.
And then you have
getting really big. I don't think it's 10. They were really big. We met those guys originally in 2020 March when I met them with Rob Wilson, of all people, actually at the charity event at the Arnold.
Oh yeah.
The year it was actually canceled. We were at the Veterans Memorial for the Arnold After School All Stars. And that's when we met Adam, and then Rudy when he was involved with the company as well. So they had just kind of been starting out. So if I had to guess, they've probably been around for going on 6, 7, maybe 8 years.
So we think, with that being said, so this was probably
they started actually.
These were original.
I would say, yeah. To that, I would then say they were at least 2018 because, like I said,
right.
Their regular bourbon, the you know the 93 proof that they're on batch 3, it's 6 years. So that came out last year. So that'd be at least 20.
Yeah.
19 for that. So, but yeah, they've won so many awards.
Yeah. I mean,
Amy says 2017.
20. Awesome. So, I mean, I don't know. For me, this is awesome. I think it's a great experience. Maybe it's the camaraderie, maybe it's the table, maybe it's the ambiance. But I don't, unfortunately, I don't drink a lot of their stuff. Obviously I need to pay more attention to their stuff, but I'll give this an 8. I love that, you know, it is that, you know, 120 proof. Even if it is 110 and it tasted like this, I'd still be really happy. It's just the fact that you can get an expression like this. It's not overly hot. It's soft. It has that molasses like thickness with also a soft, like with that apple, like light fruit note on the front end. I love the aromas off of it as well. It does have that. It has that spice because of the proof, which, you know, we thought that was because of rye, and it's not. But it's very pleasant. So I appreciate you, Nate, for bringing this in and sharing with us. And then unfortunately, I didn't get to try the cigar, but as far as I haven't tried this size, but I know that it's great. I'm going to give the cigar a 9 because last year when John gave me the first samples of it last year, which was in a 6x52, it just blew me away. I think it amped up the original blend way just exactly into my flavor profile. I know it has those bread notes. I know it has those. To me, it has, even though I'm not smoking it from when I did smoke it in a different size, it had this, you know, cinnamon, nutmeg kind of baking spice, like what Steve was alluding to, with a slight like white pepper spice on the back end with this very smooth finish, very pleasant mouthfeel. And I wish that I could be smoking it with you guys and drinking it or smoking it with this, because I think that the pairing, the cigar, the 9, the cigar would be a 9, whiskey an 8, at overall pairing a 10 for me if I could be smoking the cigar, because I do really enjoy this whiskey.
Well, and you're one of those guys, kind of like with how I am at work, with how Steve is. We smoke so many different things. We drank so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
People ask us our opinion on stuff. We can sit there and just all of a sudden start pull out flavor notes.
Right.
And people, you know, the casual consumer's like, how do you remember like what this tasted like, what that tasted
Because
like.
it's an experience.
But it's just the way we are wired.
Well, I think for me,
Doing it for so long.
it's an experience where, you know, when we did, you know, goof around a lot, and like I would come out with like some crazy notes, like back in the day, in the early days of the podcast.
Lobster. What?
Well, like the one big joke that I had, or that Steve had, was like I pulled like dark fruits like plum, and then I had like
Stone.
Clementine was like one like goofy one.
Clementine.
That was like a really
That was
a
an
good
entire
one.
episode.
Yeah, that was a whole episode. But I think for me, it's all these, like I'm a foodie, obviously, and it's just all these things. That's why I love this job, because it allows me to, you know, unfortunately, be a glutton and enjoy this, you know, all these different flavors and try different things and create my own experience. And I think that was not to get too philosophical, but you know, I think that was kind of the basis behind the podcast at the beginning, was like creating our own experience, talking about it. And,
No, absolutely. Yeah.
and so that's, I mean, this with, you know, with the table like here tonight, it's just all a 10. So thanks.
I realized that, you know, that the tasting notes on the cigar are very similar to what the bourbon is, especially with the baking spice. And so I think that's, to me, why it was enhanced either way, because they have similar. But then they blew it up even more when you put them together.
Well, and you can retrohale too. So allowing all your flavor senses.
Yeah.
For those that don't know,
you're missing out.
you know, if you can retrohale, which, you know, Steve tried to teach me for 3 years and I could finally do it. It really amplified my cigar experience.
Oh, yeah.
And when you can
100%.
do a retrohale of a cigar and take a sip of whatever spirit you're having, and then kind of almost retrohale those fumes of that spirit, it's just all encompassing. It makes that experience so amplified.
I think a lot of reason why people don't sorry.
You want to raise your hand, Steve?
Welcome to my world. Welcome to my
Get
world.
out of here.
I was just trying to keep us, you know, on the ratings,
Oh, no,
and maybe
sorry.
move on to the other part of the podcast.
You know what? Mine's not that important. You go
guys,
ahead.
no. Hug it out.
It's okay.
Love you.
I'm
Love
not you, man.
Love you. Go ahead.
Why don't you sit in the middle?
Do it for Dale.
Go ahead.
Switch places.
I'm on the side, man. Go ahead.
Oh no, we put the two biggest guys on the podcast next to each other.
Sean, I'm busting balls. Go ahead, finish, and I'll do my ratings eventually.
Okay.
Steve, go.
Run hour 2.
I'm just saying, for people out there that want to learn to retrohale, they do one time and they sneeze and like, oh, that's horrible. And it's like, you got to give it some time, man. You got to keep doing it, and you know, go through the sneezing, and then you'll be glad you
Go
did.
through the sneezing.
And you'll be glad you did.
He's not wrong.
Go through the hurt.
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Go ahead.
If I may.
Just please.
All I was going to say is that the only thing this pairing is really missing, in my opinion, is like butter. Honestly, there's so much food flavor you guys are describing. This is,
does that mean like
a high
thickness?
proof. No. This is a high proof. There are so many food flavors here. So with the whiskey, I'll rate it an 8.75. I'm with Nate on that. I think the bourbon here has a little bit, as we've gotten into it after that initial shock, and again, 140 proof palate cleanser.
Hazmat.
This is a bourbon that does have a little bit of the fruit notes to it, but it also has, you say, molasses. This is like pancakes with maple syrup. I think a lot of that comes
That's better
through on that.
Yeah, that's a better
And
description.
I think that if you add a little bit of butter to that, like as your flavor profile, when I'm thinking about it, you add that to the toast on the side, right? So you have that breadiness of the cigar.
I'm just seeing a stack of pancakes.
Yeah, so, I mean, there.
He's got a whole
Go
breakfast going on. And Nate.
You guys are all excited about it.
Yeah. Breakfast.
What were you gonna say, Nate?
No,
Please.
no, go ahead.
No. Now we have to.
The way you were describing it, I was just thinking a stack of pancakes with a thing of butter on top. And
That's exactly what I'm saying. All you need to add is butter to this, and that's the same thing with the toast. The breadiness. There's a little bit of warmth, maybe a little bit of cinnamon sprinkled on top of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you add butter to that. So I mean, this is
More
my
cowbell.
fat ass is hungry.
Yeah, I'm just saying this is like This is a breakfast type of a pairing, not that time of the day, but this is like,
It could be, depending on who you are.
When we're hanging out, if we do, but this is more of like when you do that breakfast for dinner type.
Sure.
Right.
Nice. I love that.
This is
It's
a
good
lot
description.
of flavor. The cigar, I would give do the same thing, 8.75, pushing 9. I think there is so much, and I think Jake, to your point, you smoked 52 ring gauge.
I smoked that, yes, last year.
I think a 54 will open it up. So a little bit more ring gauge.
Make it softer.
It's a little softer. So you're getting more of those food flavors that we all talked about. So
Yeah.
there's the breadiness. I get a little bit of that woodiness, but it is very toasty.
With
which
no
is very
spice.
nice. There's no spice, but as you get into it and as you're drinking this for the pairing, I think that's where the spice comes in.
Mhm.
And I think that's where if you had, like, again, I'm just like going off the full breakfast metaphor, is that if you had like a hot apple cider, with a little bit of whiskey in it.
Yes.
So you get a little bit of that going on there with the cinnamon sticks in there, right? Kristen makes a good one of those. We had that at Trick or Treat a few years ago.
Yeah.
But you have this full picture, and when I say all you have to do is add a little butter to it, that's the only thing this pairing as far as flavors is missing. Is if you had a little bit. This has a lot of viscosity to it, but if you look at it, there's not as much viscosity. There's not as much legs on my glass with this. So, and that's shocking at 120. So that's where I'm saying, like, this is something that if there was a little bit more like butterscotch, that's the only way I could see this pairing being any better.
I bet if they kept these barrels and made it a 10-year, that's where you would get.
Or I don't know what the
those
char
big-
level is. But if you switch that char level a little bit, you might get a little bit of that butterscotch coming off of that as well.
That'd be a lighter char.
This would
Right.
This would be a great
You change it up a
fall
little bit, right?
whiskey.
So that's where I'm
Great
at.
fall whiskey.
For me, the pairing, I'm actually at a 9.5. I think this is a fantastic pairing because that whole experience that you're having with it, everything that you guys said, I kind of just wanted to build off of and just give it a different aspect of
Sure.
the full experience there. It's absolutely very, very enjoyable. This is something that you could go back to if you didn't just have, like, this is not a pairing after like a steak dinner,
No.
right? This
Before
is
the
something
dinner.
Before the dinner. Absolutely.
This is happy hour.
It's a very happy hour.
This is appetizers.
I
And hopefully you remember the dinner.
No,
I think I think if we would have had this before we started, when you sent out the picture of the cigar and the bourbon, you could have like a stack of pancakes next to it.
If I would have had this pairing before, I would have just snuck that in the
You would have been,
the AI in the background. Like, what the fuck's with the pancakes in the background?
you would have been like Bill Bender. You know
Yeah.
who that is? Where he
Yeah,
does
of
that
course
big
I do.
pancake
Yeah,
stack
absolutely.
every year for his birthday.
But I do want to thank you, Jake, for bringing these cigars. Very,
Yes,
very
thank you.
special.
Yeah.
Nate, thank
Thank you,
you.
Nate.
When I reached out to you, I didn't have a chance to stop. So, I mean, this was great for you to suggest this. And I'm happy to have High Bank and, back on the podcast. We've got
Local.
some friends over there. They're
Yeah,
local.
Support local.
We've not had them or their products on the podcast for some time. So we definitely need to hook that up again for sure.
Yeah.
So, guys,
We're
thank-
working on it.
No, I know we're working on it. So I appreciate you guys bringing everything. Sean, thank you very much. I'm sorry.
I love you.
I love you, man.
It's okay. There
I
you go.
love you,
I
man.
love Lamp.
I love lamp.
More cowbell.
No, very good. We're going to just slide into part 2.
Cool. Oh,
Cool.
yeah.
You pass me the bottle.
Absolutely.
It's almost gone.
Holy shit.
We didn't have a backup bottle.
Knew that would happen with four
It's
of us.
okay.
on.
We have my black bag over there.
Oh God,
Black bag of goodies.
Like,
a black bag of danger. Over
I
there.
appreciate everyone. Tim Dodge, a breakfast bourbon that will sell. Matt Summers, bourbon as a breakfast pairing. I guess football season hasn't ended. Yeah, I like it.
These guys act like they haven't done it before.
They all have. They all have. They
Making
all
jokes, and you do it every day.
have. Me?
Well, no,
Yeah.
just you.
All right, so this is the part of the podcast where we kind of veer off into life. And Nate, I appreciate you bringing the topic this week.
Mhm.
We're going to go ahead and put that on there if I can see. Not because my
Yeah. What is it?
It just
No, that's
got
special
further
guest.
away.
That's special guest. That's my name.
no, that's last week.
That's my name.
I don't know. We'll figure it out here.
It's awesome. Well, thanks guys for having me on. It's awesome. to be back.
Yeah, it's safe travels.
I wish I could have been here for the Tennessee Waltz one. Which was
Kyle,
that?
you want to help me out on this?
Was that in January?
yeah.
Did you guys do Tennessee Waltz in January, or was that December?
Look at the screen there.
Which tagline is he on?
I need the topic. No.
Nope, not that one.
Is there another one? Did it not make it?
Oh,
And back to you, Sean. How have you
Yeah.
been?
Did Steve not
Doing
make the
great.
topic tag?
know.
Doing great.
Doing great. Like the cigar, the bourbon. It's great. It's all great.
That's fair. No
You
problem.
had some Johnny
No
Walker
problem.
Black
Which
with
is,
that accent.
Later.
That'd
here.
be great too.
Oh, okay. Some Brooklotic.
Top the soft or is it later?
You know, haggis would go with this too. You know.
Yeah, you want some Pete with that?
Sure.
Right.
Why not?
Oh, yeah.
So the topic tonight is going to be hobbies.
Oh, great.
Oh, great. Nate, if you
Is that
wanna go
Vices?
ahead,
Is that like? Is that
I'll put it up.
coincide
on the
with
screen here in just a
Vices?
moment here.
Corn off the table.
yes?
Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Was that in the
I have
mug,
no
or was that
hobbies
a-
then.
Got it.
Tell the proof of this thing.
So Vices. Hashtag
No,
hobbies/vices.
no, not necessarily.
Got it. Cool.
Okay.
Nate, if you can go ahead and start, I'll put it up on the screen here.
Well, so I came up with the topic of discussing hobbies, not necessarily the hobbies that we have or that we enjoy, but I had a couple different taglines for it. Hobbies as a passion or an obsession, or an escape or an excuse, because
Ooh.
we all live our lives. We all have hobbies. There's a lot of people, especially nowadays, we all seem to be so busy with life, with work, with everything going on, kids, whatever you have going on. We're always busy with stuff. And yet we find times for hobbies. And do we use hobbies as an excuse, or do we use hobbies as an escape?
What do you use them for?
Huh?
What do you use them for?
Well, that's the topic. Like we all have our hobbies, whether it be cigars, whether it be whiskey, whether it be whatever other people want, whatever their hobbies are. Now, obviously, the four of us, we all smoke cigars and drink whiskey a lot, all of us. Those are two of our hobbies. But some people have other hobbies, whether it be sports, whether it be lifting, whether it be reading, whatever it is. Like when does a hobby cross that threshold from a hobby to an obsession? Or when does a hobby take over our lives?
No.
Because sometimes we have a hobby as just something we do when we're not at work, but then there's sometimes we spend so much time on our hobbies, it almost feels like work. So where do you draw the line?
Well, all right, let's start with this then. Is what draws you to not just a particular hobby, but let's go to the basics here. Why is it important to have hobbies?
I think hobbies are I think hobbies in general are
Cheers,
supposed to be an escape from our everyday life. So all of us, we have jobs, we go to work, and then we have a household, we have families, whether it be just a spouse, we have kids and a spouse, whatever it is. We all have a home.
See you, Kyle.
And we spend time at home with those we love, but then we still have hobbies. And sometimes hobbies are very beneficial. Sometimes they can be a detriment. I had a family member who has passed away years ago. I mean, they had some serious health issues when they were in their 50s. And then after they recovered from those health issues, they developed the hobby of woodworking. And they built a woodworking shop. And whenever they just weren't doing anything or had nothing to do, they would do that hobby. So it was actually a great uncle of mine, lived in Kentucky where our family property is. He had a stroke at 55, which was after he had retired from Ford. And after he had the stroke, he developed the hobby of woodworking. And he built a shop in his backyard where he would actually go and just build stuff. By the time I remember actually spending time with him, his wife had passed away, so I never knew that great aunt. And, even though he had a stroke at 55 and smoked multiple packs, I mean, 2 packs would be a light day for this gentleman, because I watched him smoke an entire pack of Marlboro Reds in 2 hours.
That was before the woodworking?
That was during.
Okay.
He ended up not passing away until 81. And his doctors had always said, like, if you didn't have a hobby, you probably wouldn't still be here.
Yeah.
It was something for him to do. So he just built stuff. He built a grandfather clock. He was literally looking at a catalog of grandfather clocks, and he's like, I can make one better for less money than that thing costs. He just bought the machinery parts.
Wow, that's awesome.
And then went out into his wood shop and built one out of red cedar.
Wow.
That had way more detail, our family crest on it and everything, for less than what it would have cost if he ordered it through a catalog.
Who has that now?
Who
has that now?
Probably one of his kids.
Oh, okay. About to say that's
Yeah,
probably
he passed 20 years ago at least.
Okay.
He had one of those propane fireplaces in his house, and he built an oak mantle that stretched the entire wall 6 feet high for this little tiny 1.5 foot wide gas fireplace. It was something for him to do. He built a fishing pole rack. It was something that was out of the normal day-to-day that provided him a purpose.
He did that like before he retired. He started that.
Oh no, that was after he retired, after he had the stroke.
How long after he retired did he have the stroke, and then how long?
Within 5 years after he retired, he had the stroke.
Yeah.
And he'd been a cigarette smoker since he was 14.
Yeah.
But he found a way to keep himself busy. But it didn't necessarily take away from his responsibilities or day-to-day life.
Well, we all have to feel some type of fulfillment, right?
Well, I think that's
that's
kind of why I brought this up. Like,
yeah.
At what point does a hobby become fulfillment, and at what point does it become an obsession that keeps us away from the things around us or the people around us?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, it's funny you bring this up, the subject, just based on what I've been going through with this past week or so. I've last week I parted ways with the company I used to work for, and I've been looking, obviously, and had a great interview today with the company. And one of the things they asked me was like, "What do you do in your downtime? What is it you like to do?"
I love how that's always a question.
But for me, it was kind of a wake up call, because I've been working from home for over almost 10 years now. And it's easy to be sedentary when you're, like, we were just discussing this earlier with Steve. With Steve, is like, there's days of, like, I get in my car and I come back, and then like 5 days later, I'm like, holy shit, I haven't left the house in 5 days.
You don't even need to get gas.
Yeah. And so it's something that, this is something that, I've been working on, trying to, change that. And I think that the position that I've been interviewing for is something where that would allow me to do that, actually go back to an office and work in an environment with people. I've always been a social person, but I think over the years I've kind of been a recluse, and I just think a lot of times I wasn't happy, and I didn't realize it. I was just okay just being alone and not really doing much. But I think that something with an opportunity that's coming for me is it allows me to kind of shake things up and maybe be more motivated to have more hobbies, because I'm not just laying there staring at shit, watching TV or taking naps, or, I've been working on that obviously for what, for last year or so, but it's easy to fall back in those old ways. So, and even my wife is like, when you were out doing things, like at a job where you went somewhere, you never did anything for yourself. You did do a lot of things for yourself. When you were home, you never did anything. Like, I didn't want to go out anymore. It didn't appeal to me. Well, I used to love to go out, or I maybe golfed 6 times last year, where I used to golf at least 50 to 60 times a year. And so that's something I want to be able to focus on that. I like to fish a lot, and I think that's a good relaxing thing, especially something to decompress from working all day. So I think that it's important to have that. And when you don't have that, or you had it and you lost it, it kind of is almost, for me, was subconsciously. I didn't even realize I was doing it until lately. And I'm like, wow, this can really turn something into where I can actually make more of my life by being out with people, developing new relationships with people, and being a part of a great team with my job. But then, like, maybe there's people that I work with that like to golf, and there's more opportunities to do that. Or,
and your wife noticed this.
Oh yeah,
and said something.
Oh yeah,
because I think that
so did my kid.
But I did
too.
I think that's amazing because you got a great woman there.
Yeah, oh, she's amazing.
Because
she's the best.
I mean, I think that's what a lot of men struggle with personally, is that just like for me, because I can't speak to your life, but like for me, it's like, I think for a lot of guys too, you go through your 20s and you kind of have like a wild hair, you make mistakes, you learn from them.
Sure.
And then, you gotta, there's that always, you gotta settle down. That's the classic like term. So like men settle down, but there is always that like, what's his face always say, like the monkey brain, Brandon always says, like, the monkey brain, where it's like there is an inner being in us that wants to go out and wants to roam and wants to, not to get too crazy about it, but it's just like there's something that, we love our families and we want to be around them, but men lose themselves in their families, which it's a bad and a good thing.
It's about balance.
It's about balance, and you have to take care of your responsibilities, but there needs to be that men time. There needs to be a second fulfillment strategy. And the fact that she understood that and pointed it out is pretty amazing. And that's beautiful, actually.
I can't think.
That's kudos to her. And
and I honestly, like, there was a part of me when I first was looking at this job, I was like, oh my God, I have to go back to an office setting. And because it's like, that never bothered me before, but because I got so sedentary, it's like, what's changed? And I think people obviously for change all the time, but it took me a while to grasp the fact that like change is a good thing. And for this particular situation, I think it's going to be a great thing. I think it's going to like allow me to have a drive and a purpose again, and be able to, I think just getting out kind of gives you the motivation to do things that you maybe took for granted or just never did. And like, I remember talking to Ryan Newman. He's huge into golf. He was like I was in my 20s, and when I was single, and then when I started dating my wife, she's like, you got to cut that shit back. You're out there every day. And I'm like, I was a little obsessed. So that went to the
you went the full circle here.
Yeah. So
she told you to cut back, and now she's telling you to go out there.
Yeah. So, but now though, when I go out and I do play, I enjoy it that much more because it's not something, and it was like I was a grind or just doing because I just was obsessed with it. It was more of a, now I can just sit back, enjoy what's around me on the course, see nature, see animals, and be present. I think that really was the thing that made me feel. And she even said, when you came home from golfing, you were like alive again, because it allowed me to kind of reset, allow me to be more present, and then to be able to tackle whatever I was dealing with before with a whole different mindset. And, but I can see where, like I said, you're right. I did full circle. And I think now having this possible opportunity would be something that would be very, bring me back on track and be able to focus on being a little more balanced with it. And I'm okay with that because I'm kind of used to doing both. And now I kind of understand both sides. So, going golfing on the weekends on a Sunday morning with whomever, or a Saturday morning, it's like something I can look forward to. Whereas before I didn't really have anything to look forward to. It's like, you get off your last day at work and what are you gonna do this weekend? I'm like, I don't know, and now it's like, and I think even going to the gym more and having a little more energy just to get out and just activate your mind more and get more of that social mindset of just being active and talking to people and connecting with people, that I think that catapults you to something that like really can ground you and bring you back to where you need to be. So it's kind of
awesome.
Thanks, man.
I think you really hit it on the head there with the balance and finding that balance there, Sean. The hobby is excuse or escape or excuse. I think that really, Nate, when you sent that as one of the other one was something or obsession.
Passion or obsession.
So the two different mindsets there. We'll go with the passion or obsession. I think you find yourself interested. Jake, you're a great example of it. You've turned in your life into being able to do something for a living that is absolutely a passion.
You too.
Agreed. I think, both of us, a lot of people, if you find something, that old saying, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. Well, we all know that's not true. We've talked about
It's
that on
not
the
true.
podcast. It turns into work no matter what it is. But I think, passion versus obsession, I think you really need to look at those two terms as a positive and then a borderline, if not a full-blown negative. I think passion is something that it drives you in a sense that it's positive, right? You find something, hobby that you're really interested in, and now all of a sudden you dive deeper. You're not just like kind of just doing it not just as a lack of other things to do. You actually dive into it. You start learning about it. You start devoting a lot of your mental capacity to it, and with that comes time. The obsession is where I feel like it consumes you. That's what the obsession part is. It consumes you at all costs. I think I highlighted a comment back here, and again, forgive us that we are further away from the screen here. No, that's not it. Damn it.
That's a good point, though.
That is a good point. But so it was something where it actually consumes your time, right?
Yeah.
So at all costs, that's when the obsession comes in. That's when you lose your mental focus, and it becomes there are no guardrails at this point.
Yeah.
This consumes your life, consumes your time at all costs. And that's where that balance wasn't there, possibly with what Sean was just saying. It became something where you were obsessed with it in a sense, but it was something that this was all you woke up. This is what you're thinking about when you're at work. Something that pays your bills. This is all you're thinking about. So then all of a sudden your focus is elsewhere, whether it be your job, your relationships, people that are important to you. There are no, like I said, there's no guardrails there where it's going to keep you on a path that will keep you on a healthy, balanced, healthy lifestyle, where it's more of a 360 thing as opposed to just a pointed focus of your time and mental capacity. And therefore every cell in your body is just all about that. That's the obsession side of it.
Yeah.
With that, there's no guardrails on time. There's no guardrails on finances. There's no guardrail on emotions at that point. So at this point, when you're obsessed with something, you have let everything else take a back seat to what you're obsessed with. And that could be something as simple as golf, right? That could be something as simple as cigars or whiskey.
It was.
This is all you want to do, is get away from where you are at to be able to participate in what you've been thinking about all day.
Yeah.
This brings in a unbridled emotional and mental state that you are no longer able to control your life. And that's the obsession part of it.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets super dangerous, because you may not realize it until it's too late.
Sure.
That you have now sacrificed your relationships, you've sacrificed your job performance, you've sacrificed your mental and physical health just because you are so into that. And I would say it may not always be this way, although I will say a lot of times I'm of the opinion that it is typically because you are looking for some sort of fulfillment of a void of passion in your life in general.
Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%.
I've had multiple customers in the time that I've been at Carfania selling wine and spirits. I've had customers that have come in and be like, yeah, I just got into bourbon 2 years ago, and now I've got 200 bottles in my collection. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, I've never had that many bottles. like
That's
a lot of us, we don't have a collection. We have a cabinet that we drink from.
Sure.
We have a bar.
Yeah.
And
Speak
we
for
drink from
yourself.
that bar. But I mean, I've had people that have just gotten into this within the last 2 years. Like, yeah, I just got a bourbon 2 years ago. And I go, it's a terrible time to just now get into this, because now
high.
you're going to be chasing stuff.
Well, you're chasing
you're-
stuff and prices are hiked.
Well,
Yeah.
and I tell them like you're one of those people that probably waits in line 4 or 5 hours,
3
Mul-
weeks, three
multi-
times out of a day,
multiple times a
3
week.
times out of a week. Yeah.
or you're sitting there, you're paying 4 to 5 times
You're chasing the truck.
whatever retail is on the secondary. Like you are spending a lot of time and money on this. You've just gotten into this. Like you've gone from nothing to 100 in
Yeah.
a fraction of a second. And I've had that time as well.
I think
there
I
was-
think
there was,
every bourbon guy has had that.
Oh no, it wasn't for me. It wasn't bourbon. In fact, the most I got into bourbon was when you and Steve started this podcast.
It's our fault.
I was a Scotch guy
our fault.
before that, and then then you guys started doing this.
So are you Luther or
But no, oh shit. There was a time when I was still living at home before I ever moved out, between college and when I got my first apartment, where some friends of mine from church, they would get together like once a month to play paintball. And because there was someone from the church who had a bunch of property and had built some paintball bunkers and stuff like that, and let us come out to their property and just play paintball for no additional cost. And I was like, cool. I've never played paintball before, but I'm a gun guy. Like, let's go.
paintball is fun?
So what do? I went out. I bought a paintball gun. I bought an electric hopper.
It went down the rabbit hole.
I bought a fog proof lens. Like I didn't buy the fog resistant mask.
Yeah.
I bought the fog proof one. That was an
Sure.
extra
Breathing heavy,
$60.
yeah, absolutely.
And instead of the regular gravity fed hopper, it was an electric hopper. I would yeah.
The double trigger.
Oh, yes. I was better at semi-auto than the gun was at full
I
auto.
love it.
You're not impressed.
Throat guard,
No, I
chest
did it.
protector, knee pads. Like
Very short step.
Cup.
I bought an aftermarket barrel. I bought paintball specific diameter to that barrel. Like I went all in. And
Yeah.
that's when my mom and stepdad were like, you've been spending a shit ton of money
Yeah.
on this hobby. You need to start paying for some of the bills around the house. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like I took it a little too far. And all that within the course of a month.
Yeah.
And so there are some people that it may take them a year or two before they go full blown obsession.
Mhm.
I went full blown obsession in a month with some things.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I just talking about this whole subject and stuff, I've also kind of realized in the past when I was golfing, not obsessive golfing, but just as a hobby where I play a lot more, I noticed that when I did get home, I was more refreshed and more connected with my wife.
Right.
Whereas before it was all the time, or it was I didn't do anything and I had no motivation. And lately we haven't done much together as a couple. And now it's like all this, I say everything happens for a reason. And this week has been an emotional roller coaster, but I think there's opportunity that's going to push me in the direction of enjoying myself, doing things I want to do, but that in turn will create more connection with my wife. And that's what I'm really excited about too.
So it was a couple of years ago. I was at the cigar shop. It was on a Sunday, and the gentleman I work with on Sundays, Todd, him and one of our regulars, Eddie, they would go golf together like at least once a month. It was usually like every 2 or 3 weeks. Those guys were going golfing together on a Saturday, and every single Sunday, Eddie comes in and those two start talking about golf. And I made the mistake a couple of years ago. I said, if you guys ever played somewhere close to me, because the course they were going to was almost an hour away from me. I was like, if you guys ever played close to my house, I might actually consider going golfing with you guys. Even though I haven't golfed in 6 years, I might actually go golfing with you guys. And immediately those two went, well, what courses are near your house? And we actually picked a course that was, about a 20-minute drive from my house. And because it was almost an hour away from Todd actually spent the night at my house. My wife made dinner and breakfast the next morning.
Nice.
And we all went golfing together. And that was the first time I'd hit a golf ball in 6 years. And Eddie and I had tied. And I had a couple holes that were at the very first hole was a par 5, and I parred it. Like that right there, I was like, "Oh, I think I might have the itch again." And
Yeah, it'll do it.
yeah, and you know, I had some amazing shots, and Eddie's a much better golfer than Todd, and we tied. And so as soon as we were done with that round, they're like, "All right, when are we going to go again?" And it was 3 weeks later. We then go out to the course they always played at. Thankfully, Sean came out with us, so I could ride in a cart with Sean. that right there was the highlight because I didn't have to ride in a cart with the other two. But I rode in a cart with Sean, and I had never golfed with Sean before. Sean's a freaking amazing golfer.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I went out my second time golfing in 6 years, and I shot an 83.
The front nine you shot in the 30s, I think.
No, I shot 40-43.
Okay.
I still have that. I have the card magnetically attached to my refrigerator.
Not only do I love that story.
Gold star on the fridge.
Not only love that story, but I remember distinctly that we met back at the shop later. And
Yeah,
you had
because I had to go to work.
You had a fucking aura around you when I walked in. You were like smiling ear to ear. You were so fucking excited and happy. And I said, that's exactly what you needed to myself. And I'm like, that's what it's all about, man. Reconnecting with something that maybe you haven't done in a while. And he's a true testament to that.
You beat me by 3 strokes, but Eddie's the trash talker, and I beat him by 12. That's all I cared about.
So golf is the answer.
I
is
beat
what
the
I'm getting
shit
at.
out of Eddie on that round.
Golf's the answer.
But it was one of those things.
Everything else sucks.
I hadn't done it in so long that finally when I got back into it 6 years after, like suddenly when I was like, oh shit, I can still do this. Like I wanted to get back out there and do it again. And I didn't golf at all last year.
I was gonna say,
like-
so where does that go?
So it's not an obsession.
There's
they're the little one.
It's not even a hobby.
there's a thing about having time to do it. And you know, at that time I was working 7 days a week.
Sure.
So I really didn't have the time anymore. But now that my schedule is stabilized a little bit more, like I actually have an opportunity where if I wanted to get back into it, I have a day that I could. But it was something that had never been at the back burner. I had never thought about it. It was something that had been a hobby, and I never thought about it because I hadn't done it in so long. But then once I got the opportunity to do it again, I wanted to go all in. I wanted to do it so much more often.
So are you afraid that you will go full paintball again on that?
No, I'm
No.
not.
So my point is that in what's up on the screen right there, escape or excuse, that can be deemed as negative connotation, right? You know what I mean? Like you're escaping from your life, or you're an excuse to get away from your life. And I think that what you're saying is what I hear more often with hobbies anymore.
For me, it was an escape. It was just I had a day off.
Okay, but not in a negative way.
Yeah.
So that is something. That's what a hobby I think should be.
I was doing it like once a month,
but
like that.
But you haven't been.
Not
so what I hear more from people that I've known for years, that like some lifelong friends and stuff like that, and even just random people, you ask how things are going, and it's I work, I go to sleep, I go home, I do all these things. Like that's it. I go back and repeat.
That's me.
I'm busy, and you're like, so how have things been? And you're like, yeah, it's fine. And you're like, for how long has it been, quote, fine?
It's not fine if you say fine.
Right.
Years.
And it's okay. Honestly, it's okay that if your hobbies involve your significant other, your family, your spouse, and all that stuff, right? I mean, Sean, you're the only one at the table that has a child, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And a lot of times that does start to consume your time, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's all part of the
Especially
deal
when they're young.
and that's fine. It's not necessarily they're calling that like what their hobbies are your hobbies, but there are a lot of times where I feel like you people will get involved with their kids or their family's activities, and that becomes their side life, if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like you have work, you have your home life, and then you have everything that may not be your personal hobbies, and that's good. That
Mhm.
that it's how you look at it.
Mhm.
But when you talk to someone and you ask, Nate, anyone like Sean, you too, like, when was the last time you golfed? Well, I haven't been golfing in a long time, but when you talk about it, you talk about it so passionately.
Sure. We light up.
And at a certain point, we have the luxury sometimes that we can afford time and money to do hobbies, to do things like this podcast, share a bottle, share some cigars with some friends, things like that. I find that when people stop really looking at their priorities constructively is when they start losing themselves to everyday life. And that's when you ask someone, how's everything going? Like, how are you? And it's like, it's fine. It's fine. Like, what have you been up to? Nothing.
Yeah.
Have any vacations planned? No. You ever get any, like, you've been golfing? No.
Sounds like me.
You say that, but it's not funny. It's one of those things. It's like, well, you have a finite time on this earth, so it's like, figure it out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Unless you are literally scraping by and surviving, and the reason that you don't have time is because you are working all the time to provide.
Mhm.
That is the only, in my opinion, reason for that. If you aren't doing it, you're neglecting yourself, and therefore you will start neglecting everyone around you.
Yep.
Because you are no longer happy most of the time. Not everyone, but I'm saying, like,
You are dead
this
on.
whole thing is that this escape or excuse. The escape is a pleasurable one, but within a healthy boundary. This is something that you want to do, the golfing, do the hobby, smoke cigars. We're in the industry, not you, Sean, but we're in the industry that we are doing this. But now, Sean, being a part of the podcast, it's like, this is something that you're going to be doing on a regular basis, where you are learning and trying to speak to other people about cigars, whiskey. These are some of your hobbies. These are some of your passions. You can do it in a healthy way as long as it doesn't consume you. You're not neglecting other responsibilities in your life. You're not neglecting people in your life that are important to you. It's all about prioritizing, in my opinion, what is going to give you and the people around you a full life. And more often than not, unfortunately, in the first world we live in the US, is that we are so consumed by everything else, is that your mental capacity is cannibalized by everything that you're concerned with other than your happiness.
This is one of them.
Social media.
Yep.
Don't dog it too much because we're broadcasting on social
No,
media.
it's not necessarily social media.
Sucks.
It's there's so much shit you
Thank
can look
guys,
at.
the bottle.
There's so much shit you can do on a
Everything left in
phone
there.
that
Reels and algorithms.
yeah. And so I one thing I started doing, and it kind of got me in some trouble and kind of fucked me up mentally and physically, was I started smoking cigars and drinking bourbon 3 or 4 times a week at home on my patio and looking at my fucking phone. And all of a sudden
Rookie
it got
numbers.
to the point where, like, I was having some issues, and I went to my doctor, and he's like, "How often are you doing this?" He's like, "You need to back off, dude. It's messing with your psyche, especially if you're on antidepressants
Or your sleep schedule.
and you're on ADHD meds. That's going to negate what you're doing." So now I just spiral deeper. And then what's the best thing I can do? Go drink and smoke, because that's my only escape. And I spend 4 or 5 hours outside, and I escape from my family. And they've told me that, and I see that, and I own up to it.
I don't mean to sound like a dick,
Okay, but you will. Go ahead.
but how in the
Good at
fuck
it.
are you on antidepressants and what was the other med?
ADHD meds.
You're on both?
Mm-hmm. For a long time, and all the other medications because of my brain tumor thing. Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of fucking meds.
Bring up a surgery too.
You want to see my scar?
Yeah.
It's faint, but you can see
Yeah.
it.
Oh, you can see it.
Yeah.
It just happened to my uncle.
If you ever wants to
Yeah, I
talk.
mean, I've gone for full circle in some of those where, I've done nothing outside of work and go home, to the point where my wife's like, "You need to go out and do something."
Yeah.
And then I find something I want to do, and then it gets to the point it's like, all right, you're spending too much time doing this. We need to reel it back a little bit and
Mhm.
find a balance. And they're working 2 jobs, and the hours that I kind of do, I have 1 day off a week, every other week do the podcast on my day off. Like I have that one day, Wednesdays, and there's not a whole lot of time that I have to be able to do anything else that also fits into other people's schedules. But at the beginning of this week, I actually had a close friend from the very first cigar shop I ever worked at pass away. And, I was devastated to hear about that because
Burning leaf, right?
it was it was someone that passed away way too early. And, I want to go back and hang out with those guys. And thankfully there is an opportunity on Friday where I'll be able to go spend some time with those guys. Unfortunately, it seems like the only time I hang out with those guys is when someone,
like
Brett, this week it was another customer. But it was when someone passes, but it was one of those where, my wife and I right now, we have very different work schedules. My wife is at work at 3:00 in the morning. She gets off at 11:30. I go to work anywhere between 9:45 and 11 o'clock. So we're on exact opposites. She's in bed when I get home most days. But on Friday,
more reason to
on
prioritize your time.
Yeah. And on Friday this week, when I get off, some of the guys from my old shop are having a get together, just hanging out and having a remembrance kind of thing. And I'm so thankful for Jess, because even though I can get off work and go home and spend time with her, because we'll have the whole afternoon and evening, because of the connection and community I had with those people, she's like, you need to go. You need to go spend time with those people. I've got you every day. You haven't seen those guys in a while.
Yeah.
You need to go spend time with those guys.
That's
And
awesome, though.
The day I found out that particular person passed away, I had 3 different people from the very first shop I worked at, which I haven't worked at in 10 years. I had 3 different people from that shop reach out to me to let me know.
Why is it that, obviously death being the big one, but why is it that life jarring events make you, when you are not appreciating your personal priorities?
It's $1 million question.
Why is it that when you guys, and this is for the table, everyone out there, why is it that when these great events happen that you finally appreciate life? Why is it that when, and I may have been one of those people in the past, but I know probably more people that it's more prevalent. I'm not giving myself kudos on that. But why is it when the life altering events for yourself or for people around you that you change or have a epiphany that is then, as time goes on, short-lived?
I was going to say,
I know
exactly.
you know it. Like we've known each, like we've all known each other for a long time. I think you all knew where I was going with this. But why is it? Because we all know that's the case. We all know that we get in the rut. We get into the day-to-day, and it is.
But you just answered it. It's a rut.
No. But why is it? Why do we slip back into it? Why is it you have this great epiphany and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna have to like focus on the people that are important around me. I have to focus on my hobbies. Why is it that when you lose someone, you get fired, you break up, you have a health scare at a doctor's office that you're like, I'm gonna finally live? Why is it this? Like, and I'm not like, I'm with you guys on this. I'm not trying to like talk like I'm better than everyone else on this. It's literally, this is an honest question. Sure. Why is it that we as people, that we have to get fucking punched in the gut with the reality of our lives, that we wake up? And then follow-up question, why is it that no matter what the time is, short-lived or not, that you slip back into it?
Because it doesn't
stick.
It's because it's changed.
I think it's all based on perspective, and it's easily we're all like creatures of habit, so it's easy to. We only have so many things that we can focus on.
Okay.
And this slips into that whole thing we were talking about, like social media. where it's easy to fall into those scrolling time warps, you know, and most people do.
Doom
Like,
scrolling.
like if we, and now it's so erratic where we can literally see how much time we do spend on our phones. We get like, you can set it.
Oh, I
You can
I
set
turn
it
that
to
off. I turn that
where
shit off.
you can literally get reports weekly on how much time you spend
We
per
talked
day.
about that on the last podcast. Remember that, Sean?
Yep.
That we were like, I was saying like you're allowed to like make one repost or one post about some topic,
Yeah.
and then that's it. Like it shuts you down. Like it's like
Yeah.
now you have to go like live your life. You're like, oh fuck, like what do I do with that?
Well, but I think there's only so much information that we can handle, right? And there's only so many things that we can focus on. And everybody's you see something that inspires you to do something else. You get hooked on that. Okay. Also, you got your family. Okay. Also, you got your bills. Okay. Also, you have to put retirement in. Also, you have to do your IRA. You all like it's so there's only so many things
Right.
that we can focus on. And so, like to Nate's point, I think what he's alluding to, and I think we're all thinking it when you ask that, is like you can only focus on certain things, but at a certain point, when something bad does happen and you do get that gut punch, it puts things into perspective. And there's always this, like, just because I'm the younger one at the table, like my 20s, I'm turning 31 in March,
You look
and
great.
it's like my 20s. Well, Steve, you know, I'm 10 different people. I've been 10 different people, and I've went as far as psychological, as far as like,
no, you're growing,
like
you're
this,
evolving, right?
and but all of us are growing all the time. It doesn't
100%.
matter if you're 20 or if you're 50. Like,
so why isn't the sticking lesson there? Is that you need to keep the priorities? in
well,
check?
because you can only have so many priorities. Like if
Okay.
you, in my opinion, at least for me, like my
Well,
bandwidth.
and let me and continue what you're saying, but with the topic of the hobbies, right?
Well, yeah, I
So
didn't get to
we're-
speak on this,
But I'm saying, like, with what you're saying is why do the hobbies or the things that bring you joy, unless you are literally scraping by and trying to provide, why does that either take the back seat or the absolute front seat?
well, for me, you know, this was an interesting topic, since you like the fact that you guys brought this up, because it's like, you know, before we sat down, we all kind of said that, you know, 26 has already been like kind of a year. And well, maybe not for you. I know that
Yeah, I would.
for Sean and myself, it like kind of has been, but
Sure.
and mine's more of like on a personal issue rather than job related. But for me, I only have so much bandwidth, right?
I think we all do. Yeah.
and
absolutely.
with this topic and what we're doing right now, right? Like we're smoking and drinking, and we made it into a podcast. I made it
Sean, we'll
into
call on you in a second.
a career. And I know when I thought I had made that jump into the career of what I was wanting,
Mhm.
and got my break and moved 3 hours away.
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah.
Like it became, you know, this says hobbies, escape, or excuse. It was all the above. It was an escape and an excuse.
Yeah, that's why I
And-
feel like both of those can look at it
and-
as like a negative.
And
right?
so, well, yeah, and it can be only if, you know, I mean, Kristen said it, a few other people said it at the beginning when we first started this topic in this part of the podcast tonight, was that when it starts affecting your priorities as a man, when it starts affecting your priorities of your relationship, your financials, and taking over your life. And for me, that's why I say it is an excuse or an escape. For me, it was both.
Okay.
Moving to a new city, I had my break, literally couldn't hold a job down for a year, played football for 16 years, didn't really know who I was, had a girlfriend, now fiance, like, you know, I wasn't prioritizing Alicia, and that's why I'm not at Burn anymore. It did
Okay,
become
okay.
it did become an obsession. Did I like putting on like a 3-piece suit and a black fedora and
You look
acting
great.
like the man,
You look great.
having the keys to a $6 million building? Yeah. It felt pretty nice being the man downtown in a big city that I didn't know and that I was new to.
Sure.
You know, I could reinvent myself. So, and I did. The problem is that it did become an obsession. It did become an excuse, and it did become an escape because it hindered me and put Alicia and I's relationship, my family's relationship, everything else on a back burner because I was so riddled with I guess my issue with not providing like the year prior.
Yeah.
And like not being able to hold down a job, like
overcompensating or
100%.
Okay.
Overcompensating, projecting, whatever like buzzword or buzz phrase that you want to use towards it.
Well,
like
it's buzzphrase. I think that's a very accurate description of what a lot of people do these days.
Yeah. And so like for me, I had to back off of that. I literally took what I thought was going to be a dream and I had to say, I can't do this anymore.
At what cost?
At what cost? Right. And you start asking yourself, and the cost is my relationship and the resentment that it built inside my relationship and my family. So
was your personal life, like your personal health involved as well?
Yeah, 100%. I've gained 80 pounds since.
I didn't mean that. No.
Like, well,
sleep and
sleep
else.
deprivation, drinking, like you're drinking, smoking all the time. And then when you are not drinking and smoking, you're stressed to the max. Your cortisol is through the roof.
I felt that when you were trying to do something like you were
it's
doing,
exciting, obviously.
It's very exciting, but then when it becomes and not to that level, but like when we were doing this podcast and everything like that, you try to keep it going at all costs, right? And it's like you don't have the time anymore. You're sacrificing your time for what is your value, what is the return on your hours, right?
Right. And then when you're impressionable, you know, as a young man, you know, even when you're trying to build yourself back up, you know, if you read fucking self-help books and every Tom, Dick, and Harry that's a Tony Robbins or whoever is telling you that, you know, these are the sacrifices that you make, you think everything's fine. And it's like you have to decide what sacrifices you're willing to make and you decide what is an obsession and what isn't. Because there's a fine line there, because it can be an obsession and still be a financial gain and still be what you want. You define that.
Do you find, Jake, the difference of 2 years ago that
when I first started with Crowned Heads, or
I'm just saying it was before that, but I feel like it tapered off 2 years ago, that the entrepreneur, we talk about this on the podcast a lot, that like you have to like just keep grinding.
Yeah.
If you wake up at 5 a.m. and it's not enough, you wake up at 4.
Yeah.
If you wake up at this, if you put in this amount of time,
it's never enough.
Right. But the shift now is get sleep. Sleep is the priority. Have you seen that? The biggest thing right now in all the health and everything else is that you are getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. You need to prioritize that because from a health standpoint, the human body needs that. And it wasn't that long ago that it was all about the 4 a.m. wake up call.
Right.
And I'm not, you know what I'm
talking about. I know.
But it was like one of those things that this was a common thing, is that sleep is for the dead. And this is something that you need to keep grinding.
I'm hard. I'm a man.
Well, man or woman. It was non.
Yeah. Be hard.
Specific.
Be hard.
It was
embrace the suck.
Keep working. Embrace the suck. And now it's shifted back to the fact that it's like, make sure you prioritize your personal health.
Yeah.
And it's not just the mental health. We talked about that. No. It's like, you got to do the mental health
which
thing,
is different for everybody.
Literally, you can't have good mental health if you physically aren't capable to be there.
Right. And everybody's threshold is different.
It's so amazing to me that now it's you prioritize yourself. And I don't want to overcorrect the other way, where it's like all it is my personal life. It's like you still have to have a job and fulfill that. Right. You need to make
balance.
What's that?
Balance.
Balance. You have to have that. I think there's been a big shift back to.
I struggle with that.
Take care of your. Which one? Balance.
Well, I just struggle with, you know, like we engage on a lot of different aspects, like and we see a lot of like messages out there, right? Mm-hmm. Like everybody scrolls, everybody, and I just want to like drive
That's
this
what
point.
You're seeing though, right?
Right, but that doesn't mean that it's not impressionable. it doesn't mean that it doesn't put an impression
100%.
on yourself.
Right.
So even if you say this is bullshit, they're stupid, whoever I'm watching or listening to, they're dumb, it doesn't mean that that doesn't have an effect on you. At least for me, my nervous system, even if I say, well, that guy's an idiot, my nervous system is saying
You're still digesting.
You're still going to be thinking about that for hours to come.
You're
because
digesting it
am I doing
physically.
it wrong? And that's a projection of myself, because I don't know if I'm right or wrong.
Somebody's health.
You know,
at
one point in time, whether I was right or wrong, my convictions were very strong.
So that's the
And
thing. So you're all in all the time, right? So you're
Right.
all in, and the things that you bring into your life as far as influences, not just social media. And Sean, we've been talking about this also, is that it's like you follow these people long enough.
You start becoming them.
Well, but then you listen to them long enough,
Which can be a good thing and a bad
then
thing.
they change.
Right.
Your doctors, your influencers, everything else, everything evolves, and it's like you're just kind of along for the ride.
Right. And then in my opinion, you're just a sheep to whatever you're consuming. So at what point do you decide, okay, I know that I'm not comfortable with myself and who I am right now, but what I'm consuming, is that right for me or not? And how is that affecting me?
Right.
Because at some point, at least for myself, I had to ask myself, who is Jake Sanders? Is he this ex-football player? Is he this ex-college athlete, ex-powerlifter? Now he's just a drinker and cigar smoker? Is that like who I want to be recognized as? Am I just a partier?
Right.
Am I just someone that people want to be around? Do I really want to be that guy that peaked in high school? And so, I mean, this is something that I've battled and that has kind of consumed and been brought into Alicia and I's relationship recently, is that, you know, we've been dissecting the last 12 years of our relationship.
Sure.
And when you start objectively looking at your past life, objectively, like I can't express that word enough.
Which word?
Objectively.
Okay.
Because if you can, and what I mean by that is, if you can look at yourself with no bias involved, if you can look at your relationship with no pride and no bias involved, and understand of what pain you've caused in your own self, what causes certain effects, and dissect that is the only way that you can build off and create the person that you want to be. And what I mean, diving further into that, I mean, for myself personally, if I went into Burn for 3 years, became a GM, made it like my life's goal to like move up in that company, and then I have to shift gears, and then I have full-fledged freedom with Crowned Heads, and I'm on the road by myself.
Yeah.
How many times am I drinking and smoking every day?
Okay.
And so reevaluating my priorities on the road and how that's affecting my job, how that's affecting my money, how that's affecting my relationship, what that makes me feel like just on the inside, and how that affects others based on my attitude. And I know that I'm kind of rambling now, but it's multifaceted here. It's not just one.
It's amazing how much of myself I see in you from a decade ago.
It's not. Yeah,
So
and I think that every rep deals with this. But what I hope that I can say this while I'm speaking to the masses, and I hope there's an example in there for those that are struggling with the same like type of issue.
I got you.
Is that
I'll go to you, Sean, next.
Okay.
I did struggle with being alone on the road and drinking.
You should.
And
honestly, you should.
It's a slippery slope.
It's a very, with what we do, because this is a passion.
Right.
And what have I said from like day one on this podcast? Like, I do love the taste of whiskey.
We'll
I
call
do-
you out. They did release some like non-alcoholic whiskey.
They did.
They were
Well,
terrible.
Yeah,
They were
nobody bought.
So
me
that's
one,
the
I'm
crazy.
not-
That's the crazy thing.
Hang on, hang
I
on.
remember. No, hold on.
So-
Years and years ago.
There we go.
Years and years ago, Jake had made a statement on the
Yeah,
podcast
I know. I don't want to
that-
stick on that.
that
He had a
Steve and I
great
both disagreed on.
Well, and you called me out on it, and I didn't buy it.
I didn't.
So
Steve
somebody should buy me it, and we
But-
should do a review on that. But
Jake had said if they could make something that tastes like whiskey that had no
if
alcohol,
they
it's
made a
still-
good thing,
if it tasted like bourbon but had no alcohol, you would still drink it.
I would.
Steve and I both laughed at you. I have come to
Tastes
the
like
point.
this whiskey, maybe.
I have come to the point, and this was probably 2 years ago, where I sat there and I went, "Holy shit!" Jake said this years ago. I totally understand it now.
And I think
So-
it's because that this is an addictive product. It's tobacco. It's nicotine,
There's
regardless.
an addiction there for it's multiple levels, right? There's multiple facets on
Right,
why
but-
it's addictive.
But woodworking isn't like going to affect your health unless you like cut off your arm or something. Like
so
it's not-
no, it won't.
it's so that's what I mean is like we're in industries that like thrive around, well, not thrive, but have this negative side to them. And it's very easy
Yes.
because it is an easy hobby. It's an expensive hobby, but it's easy to fall into it. Just like Nate was saying, it's like you get into whiskey, all you have to do is have a bankroll and you go to a liquor store.
Sure.
Like
So-
that's it. So if you do this long enough, Steve has, Nate has,
Sean's getting there.
Sean's getting there. You have
Keep
to.
your thoughts.
I've had to
Keep your
watch. I've had to watch myself, and I've had to. I've well, like December last year was way too much.
Mhm.
A lot of events. I want to be the party. I want to bring the party.
You're
I want.
filling an
I
act.
want. I want to be the escape. Last year, I wanted to be the escape and excuse
You're the rock star.
for my consumers.
You're the rock star.
Did I want that did I want that for them to like make sure that they got addicted to this stuff? No, I just wanted to be that light. And that is a very slippery slope. And I crossed that line. And like this December, January, cut it off. Like no alcohol, cut it off. I did that whole thing just to like reset myself and understand, because you watch all this shit,
Yeah.
things pop up, right? Well, you know, I'm sober 13 years, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. That's great. That's amazing. But you see this enough.
Yeah.
And this goes to my point about being influenced by no matter what you see, even though you know, may not be you, it's still in the back of your mind. So for me, it's, am I drinking too much?
I think
Am I
that's-
smoking
I think
too
that's
much?
when the hobby becomes the escape.
Right. And it has, because of other facets in my personal life that made me dig into my career, right? Because that's a lot of what men do when their personal life kind of is faltering. They dive into their career because we're providers, right? So
Well,
it's a natural.
I think it's not in this day and age. I don't think it's gender specific.
Sure.
I think people do that.
But I think for men, there's an underlying bigger pride
I
in
wanna-
that.
I want to dive into this and hold, turn it over to Sean here. Is that you said, and you were really stressing on the objective part of it, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
objectively by
Sure.
focusing on yourself.
The simple facts of like objectively, are you doing things right or wrong? That is, it's an outside perspective, and there's no personal side of it.
I bet there's some comments on this whole thing.
What before Sean, and I'll turn it over to you, is that, is there a point where you can, especially when there's someone else involved, right? Like Alicia,
Yeah.
significant other, family, your job and everything else. Can you focus on the subjective happiness without cutting out things find the balance and the moderation, if you will, of what's important to you, and hold things that you're interested in, things that you enjoy, without cutting them out entirely. And subjectively, when you find, this is a bigger picture thing, subjectively, that you're happy, when you're at your happiness, you're happiest, when you're at your happiest, and when people around you are also enjoying time, when you can focus on that without objectively making decisions that are going to cut out things that make you subjectively happy. Balance. There are times that, like with you, Jake, and everything, with just on you, with me and Kristen, with you and Alicia, Sean, you and Teresa, Nate and Jess, is that you have these great times. The objective side is when it tilts over, that now becomes a bad time. But the subjective times is like, can you still find that happiness without these hobbies?
Well, because you want the good times rolling.
Right.
So if you have an experience that is very exciting and stimulating,
Sure.
and you just said it, is that the happiest? How can I get that back? That's a natural.
So that's a natural. Your passions, your
effect.
hobbies is like, is it only just based on that, or is the fact that is when you find your peak? Is this, it's not necessarily seeking that high or the euphoria of a drug, but it's the fact that it's like, we had a great time. Let's have that great time and then recenter ourselves and have a great time again. Sean, what did you want to say?
Yeah. The big thing to answer the question you had earlier when we started discussing, is like when major things happen and you focus on that, and then
why is it that recenters you, or why is it that you?
Because it brings me back to the present.
Okay.
Nothing else matters. All of a sudden, these trivial things you've had to worry about no longer exist. Things that can consume you. Okay. So like when I had my brain tumor, once I got through it, I was probably, and same with when I had my heart scare. Once I got through those procedures, and even before I went through the procedures, life simplified for me because nothing else mattered. When someone dies, and it fucks you up, but it also allows you to be present. I think that in itself is something that people in this world today do not do. And I am standing here being the first to tell you that I have struggled with that. The thing that happened with me last week was a life-altering thing. You know what sucked and why I've been stressed and losing my shit is because I've been projecting, worrying about what could happen or what could I have done better. So I'm either focused on what can happen that I have no control of, or the past that I have no control of. And instead of just looking at myself like put your feet on the ground, take some deep breaths, focus on something on the wall, write with your left hand, count back to from 100 to 1 by sevens. All of that stuff grounds you by allowing you to see what's in front of you at this present moment. What you worry about so much, future or past, you have no control over, but we're always grasping and looking at those things, because whether it's on your phone or whether it's your job. But like with the other things I had that allowed me to be present, I was calm. I was relieved in a way, because there was the worry of what could happen with my surgery. Could I die from my brain surgery? Sure. Could I have died from the heart? Because it was close. And sure. But it allowed me to think all of those trivial things just disappeared, and the relief and the weight on my shoulders were gone. There was nothing else that mattered. And when you simplify something like that, it makes your life it's like you open your eyes and everything's a lot more crystal clear. And I think that we in today's society, and as I've gotten older, and and I agree with Jake, looking back objectively at your past or your future and say, okay, what can I learn from that? Okay. All right. Once you've figured out what you can learn from that, there's no use to dwell on anymore. Let it go. You can't control it, and I think that
doesn't define you. Right.
Or what you look back and said, okay, I see that. Now I get the lesson from it. Now I can move forward with that mindset. Right. But you've got to be present first before you can do any of that. And this week is like a big thing, because I've been living so long in my own house and having a job, and it scares the shit out of me knowing that I may have to go back to an office job. Why? Because it's something new. It's something different. I'm not used to it, but I keep dwelling so much on what can happen if I get this new job, or if I happen to get it, or what other job that I could get that I could work from home but have shitty hours, So I think, I don't know, man. I remember when I was right before I went to surgery for my brain tumor. I remember my family had a priest or a deacon or whatever come in and pray over me. And he kept looking at me weird the whole time. And I was very calm and just accepting with whatever. And I remember he went back to my parents in the waiting room and said, I prayed over him, but I think Jesus is already with him, based on a religious thing. He's like, he is like calm, centered, and is ready just to take one step at a time. And
accept whatever's coming.
Yeah. And once you do that, and again, easier said than done, especially with your fucking phone and everything else. Because when you go down a doom scroll, you go down the rabbit hole, whether it's political or whether what's going on in today's world, it's easy to get so caught up in like, damn, what's it going to be like 2 weeks from now? Or what, why didn't they do this in the past? It's like, again, you're taking everything that you should be focusing inward on yourself to trying to figure out a way to fix this, or you get emotional from it, and it takes it away from who you are as a person. And it makes people angry, it makes people upset, people get mean, people get very defiant, and very, people lose friendships over it. And I've always tried to stay even keel, but now you guys, this is a blessing in disguise for me, because I'm glad we brought this topic up. I feel so much more at peace now, being able to just talk to you and Kristen earlier, and then now to go, okay, there's nothing I can do, whether if I get this job or not, it's out of my control now. I can present to them my best self, and I hope that they consider me. If not, I'm going to keep plugging away. But it allows me to see, once you can look inward on yourself, it allows you to see, okay, what can I do to improve my life? Not look to the future and worry about it, but just say, okay, what is a simple step I can do to go in the right direction and improve my health? Okay, we have a treadmill. Start walking on the treadmill. You don't have to go fucking balls out and do CrossFit.
Why did you say earlier, like, if I get this job, I'm going to join that gym?
Because it's gonna allow me to have a better structure in my life.
Stay grounded.
Yeah, and it's gonna keep me grounded. It's gonna allow me to step away from the house and not be in that rut of just fucking watching TV.
And it's improving your life.
Yeah.
Why do we go in the up and down, right? Why is it that we have this sense of when things are good, we don't really focus on why things are good?
You just accept
why is it that when or things are bad or something happens, that we are now trying to dig ourselves out of it?
It's a natural,
because it's easier.
Your body and mind are a natural defense mechanism.
Why is there so much drive to make things better when things are bad, as opposed to why is there not the drive to keep things good?
Because fear is more motivating than happiness.
And it is
a good point.
And it is literally, and I've read this and talked to my counselor about it is a natural instinct for your body and mind to protect you.
Yeah.
So you're always
a fight or flight.
Survival.
Yeah.
It's a fight or flight.
Exactly. And
mechanism.
that's what I've been all fucking week. And it's miserable. My heart rate's up, my BP's up, I'm stressed all the time.
When you're happy, you don't have a fight or flight mechanism.
No. And
how can we get there?
To get away from it, you mean?
No. It's
the $1 million question.
So yeah, that's the thing. It's like when things are good, when you're happy, right? Those really, and I know life, like, especially if there's someone else involved, right? Significant other, especially, or a family member. Why is it that when things are going so well, that I think, Jake, you said you almost like you take it for granted?
What's a fight or flight response?
Well, and that's part of
it's a natural.
Why don't we preach it? Why don't, like, counselors or influencers, when we talk about social media, why do we not say
find your happiness,
ride the wave?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever
momentum,
got you there,
momentum.
Whatever got you there, whatever made you do that. I've been through that myself. Why is it that when we really push to make ourselves better, and all of a sudden life gets better, that when life is good, that you don't say, how can I take it to the next level and keep everything going? Like, it's literally, you really, that wave comes in, and sorry to be a metaphor guy, but that when you take that wave, you're surfing that wave, it's going to crash. Why is it that we think that this is such a short-term lived thing? We're waiting for that wave to fucking crash.
Yep.
Why do we not have the mentality as like, how do I keep this wave going? Something in life is going to happen. I'm going to lose someone. I'm going to have a job experience. My significant other or my child is going to have this big problem.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, why do we not get that? This is an honest question to everyone on this table and everyone out there. Why do we not get that mentality of, it's like, let's keep it going? How can I keep it going?
Two things for me is it goes back, and I said it earlier, it's and I've looked at this because I remember coming to you sometimes and I'm like, things are going great, but I'm waiting for the drop out from
the boot to drop, right?
Yeah. So
drop, right? Yeah.
Again, I looked into that. It is a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
Your body is preparing you, or your mind's preparing you for when it does.
Do we think we don't deserve it?
No, it's just it's a protection mechanism to save, because we know that life is always going to hit you over the head. We know based off of history, right? So like if you know that things are good, we always know that it is going to fall out at some point.
But
we have to be prepared for that.
But then that turns into it turns into
a negative.
And it makes you start projecting again.
Your
you start projecting about what's happening in the future that could or could not happen. And sometimes you dwell on it so much that it brings you back to a depressive state. I think the other thing is too is, well, for example, like 2 weeks ago, I never thought I was going to get fired. Like left or no longer have a job.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, shit, I'll be able to ride this out till I retire. And, and I never thought in a million years, but man, when it hit me like a ton of bricks.
Yeah. And
so it's one of those where I think there's a fine line of taking things for granted and also being defensive and prepared. And I think sometimes when we fall back into those bad times, we fall back into old habits. We fall back into like, all right, things are good. I'm going to go back home and smoke a cigar and sit by a fire and drink bourbon for 5 hours. And all of a sudden, that's one of those things that could take me back into a spiral, not even realizing that it would do it.
Well, I think when things are going well, that's when we have a tendency to simplify things. And we just focus on the core. There's like I said earlier, I had a friend of mine from my first cigar shop that passed away this week. There had always been an opportunity to go and spend time with the guys from that shop, but I always brushed it off as an excuse. That's part of the reason I came up with this topic before I even found out that friend passed away.
Yeah, you did.
And I always had an excuse for why I didn't go spend time with those friends.
What was the excuse?
Distance, time.
Reason or excuse?
Excuse.
Both. Okay.
I'm openly going to admit it is an excuse. I always sat there and I'm like, man, it's like that shop's like 20, 25 minutes away. I got to drive through downtown. Traffic sucks.
Or did your priorities change?
It had nothing to do with my priorities.
Okay.
I'm going to admit that openly. Had nothing to do with my priorities. It was entirely, I didn't want to deal with traffic. I didn't want to drive that far to spend time with friends that were there at the very first cigar shop I ever worked at, that got me a foothold in the industry, that led me to be a cigar rep.
Did you prioritize your family time with Jess over that?
Going back to visit them?
I'll actually say no.
Okay.
Because
it's a fair answer. I'm just asking.
No.
Because sometimes that
I appreciate that.
Yeah, part of it.
I appreciate that. There's a lot of times it may have taken away time from spending with Jess, with my wife, to go hang out with those guys. But I never thought of that as the excuse to go spend time with those guys. It was more about the drive time. It was the time out of the day.
I'm gonna
and
dial down.
That's entirely my fault.
You chose that shop, time consistency, right? Like what consumed of your time. Would you prioritize that, looking back, over your time with your family? This is what we deal with, right? This is the amount of time we have in a day.
If I was actually spending if I was actually spending the drive time and time I was there with those guys, with my wife, and developing that relationship instead of just sitting on the back patio looking at my phone,
there you go.
That's the issue.
That's exactly.
That's it. No, that's a good answer, because
I'm being honest. Like,
it's objective.
I sit there and I go, no, I don't want to drive that far.
Yeah.
Well, no, he's objectively thinking it.
Well, it wasn't time with your family or your wife. It was like,
I would have spent that time looking at my phone anyway.
Yeah. So
I would have spent that time.
If you're not choosing between time with your family and your hobby,
I would have most likely I would have spent that time watching TV or sitting on the back patio, smoking cigars and drinking whiskey and scrolling through my phone anyway.
Zoning out.
And
easy.
exactly, I would have
escape.
been zoning out.
It's an escape.
And now that I have a friend from that shop that passed away, later this week, I'm actually going to go to that shop and spend time with those guys. There have been numerous times where I had the time available where I could have done that. I could have spent time with those people. I chose not to because I thought I looked
More
at
time.
I looked at the travel time as an excuse.
Okay.
And again, I came up with this topic and sent it to Steve before I found out that friend passed away. I would have used the drive time and time away from Jess as an excuse not to spend time with those people. And now that one of them who has passed away, I want to spend time with those people. And thankfully, Jess knows how much those people meant to me, that, this Friday I get off work at 2:00
Yeah.
and, normally Jess goes to bed at like 7. I could spend that time from 3 to 7 with my wife, but she is completely on board because she knows how much some of those guys mean to me. She's like, no, you need to go spend time with those guys. If you want me to go to the viewing in your place because you have to work on Thursday, I'll go there. But they're having a celebration on Friday. If you can go there, you need to go there. And
That's a good realization there. Yeah.
it is because, and again, I came up with this because there are so many times I prioritize one thing over the other as an excuse to not do the other. Like I might sit there and say, if Steve invited me over to his house on a random day of the week and said, hey, you want to come over and have steaks and wine with Kristen and I might sit there and go, you know what? You're on the other side of town. You're a half-hour drive, driving there, and I'll admit I'd probably use that as an excuse to not do that.
I've done that 100 times
because you're, in my mind, you're so far away, even though you're actually not that far away. I used to drive 5,000 miles a month for a job, and yet I can't drive to the other side of town to spend time with friends.
No,
what was that?
I said I'm not paying you to come over. So there's a little bit of
there's that too.
Give and take.
But no, it's one of those things where I would use drive time or time away from my family as an excuse. I would sit there and if someone said, hey, you want to come hang out with us? Be like, hey, I've got one day a week that I have free. I want to spend that with my family. But then when I'm not hanging out with those people, I'm not actually spending time with my family. I'm just sitting there playing video games, watching TV, scrolling on my phone.
I don't want you to belittle your alone time too. That's sometimes a very important time too.
I'm not belittling that. I'm just saying that sometimes.
Roll this into
sometimes
how you want to close out here.
Yeah. I'm saying sometimes we use our alone time or time with our family as an excuse to not spend time with people that matter to us.
Sure.
But then in that same time frame that we could have spent time with those people, we're not spending it actually with the people that are close to us.
You've been spying on me, man. The same shit.
If Steve invited me to a barbecue and I decided not to show up because hey, it's on the one day a week I have off, I want to spend it with Jess, but then I spend that entire time at home scrolling through my phone or watching TV.
I'll play the other side of it. Sometimes.
I'm not using that
Sometimes
as an excuse.
You need that alone time. You need that downtime.
I agree, but
unfortunately, to Sean's point and Jake's point is that doom scrolling, that is the new downtime. And sometimes it's fun, right? You're scrolling through reels and it's funny. You're sending things to friends, and this is a new pastime of us is to do that, right? And we all enjoy it to a certain point. I think it's a matter of when you look at the loss of loved ones, I think it's very, especially family members, right? People that are important to you, your parents or someone important, right? So there are times where it's like you wish you would have had more time. You wish you would have been able to say goodbye. You would have had that. I've experienced that. But there's also the point where they want you to continue to enjoy your life. So you take the guilt out of it. Now where are we at?
Yeah, good point.
I remember years ago, I was at a funeral, and it was one of my dad's good friends. So someone who was in my dad's age group. So not mine, not necessarily someone that I would hang out with. It was one of my dad's friends, but it was someone who still kind of treated me like his son a little bit.
Sure.
And that person passed away. I go to the funeral home. There's a lot of people there that are my dad's age, that they were all friends. They were all close together.
Yeah.
And even their kids who are similar to my age. And we get together there at the funeral home, and someone always says that one phrase: we need to stop meeting like this. Because there have been so many people in this generation. Like, you know, it was one of their other friends that I knew growing up because they lived 2 streets away from me. We got to stop meeting like this.
Right.
But then I never actually took time out of my schedule to actually go spend time with that person out of that situation. And, or if it was that person's kid who I went to school with and was my age, and, you know, it was their father that passed away. Like, man, every time we meet, it's your father, it's Justin's father, it's Jacob's father. Like, this is the only time we seem to get together. We got to stop meeting like this. We say that at the funeral home.
That's the life getting in the way thing.
But then we never actually do it. We never actually sit there and go, when do you want to get together? Like, we always wait for this situation to pull us together.
You don't wait for it. You just you adapt. You
react to it.
Yes.
Thank
you.
Yeah. We react to it, but then there's no actions from the reaction.
No, and that was the question, and
because you fall back into your reality.
Right. So, like, how do we slip back into this whole jarring event, no matter what it is, where we just slip back into everyday life?
Because you have your routines, and we're creatures of habit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good point.
Well, no,
no matter what, we can.
That's the thing. I'm guilty of that because I sit there and I use.
It doesn't mean you're different from anybody else. It doesn't mean that anybody else is bad or good or indifferent. It's just it's life, man.
You want to talk about
it's life
versus subjective. That's where I'm saying it's you take the guilt out of it.
I use when I used to when I had 2 jobs and was working 7 days a week, I would always use that as an excuse to spend time with people. Even though those people meant a lot to me,
sure,
I always use that as an excuse. Like, no, I work this much, I don't have much time at home. But then when I was at home, I wasn't necessarily spending that time at home.
You're not present.
Yeah, I was there at home physically.
You're not present.
I wasn't there mentally because I was on my phone, or I was on the back patio smoking and drinking and scrolling through my phone and doing all that shit.
Which is a hobby that is an escape.
And an excuse.
But that's the thing. I would use it as an excuse or as an escape from going to those, but it's really just an excuse not to. And it's one of those things where you have to sit there and be like, at what point do you just stop using that as a crutch and just actually go fucking do it?
All right. So Jake, that's the question here is that when do you make the turn to be present?
Well, it's kind of tough for me.
Hobbies involved.
Well, it's kind of tough for me because as someone that did the exact opposite, as someone that always has that, fear of missing out, that FOMO,
sure.
And this isn't like a fucking sappy sob story, poor Jake, whatever, but I'm just saying the facts. As a kid that really didn't have a lot of best friends growing up, not a friend group that I can count on. When I found cigars, when I found Steve, when I found Eric, Brandon, like Dan, the original crew, like when I got out of college that was at Tinder Box, Brad, Dave, Hutch, Barnes, like when any of you guys texted and said that, like, hey, you want to go do something? It didn't really matter what Alicia had planned. Like I was going and doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a difficult question for me because I'm on the opposite of Nate.
It's priorities, right?
And so I did put those relationships, I did put the friendships that as the priority. That built into resentment from Alicia and put a lot of resentment into our relationship. And we're still battling that out 8-9 years later. So it's difficult to answer this question. And I don't like, you know, we all listen to all these different words and it doesn't make them any less impactful to say like balance and to have balance. It's just me personally. It's just another cliche.
Okay.
Like we can all sit here and give like life advice and give like experiences like based on our own lives. Yes, balance. We all need balance. But what the fuck does that really mean?
We know
Like,
what it means.
well, do we though? Because we slip back into our routines when we have epiphanies.
We know what it means.
We
Doesn't mean it's
slip-
easy.
Well,
Yeah.
it doesn't really, what I'm saying is that word is not impactful to me. It doesn't mean
What is
anything
impactful
just
to
to
you?
say and like to have balance. What's impactful to me is understanding what my mistakes were in the past and making sure that I don't do them again.
Good.
Regardless on if it was drinking too much and going somewhere when I shouldn't have been, or
Mhm.
whether it was prioritizing friendships that weren't really friendships and just like good times over someone that I love that I'm trying to build a life with. Or is it disregarding family members that need help when they've made me mad in the past and I don't want to help them, so I focus on myself? Like, no, it's how can I be the most well-rounded person for myself? I beat myself up hard enough as it is.
Yeah.
Same.
I don't need other people to do it. So how can my question to myself always is how can I have my happy time? And I don't know about you guys, but I do need my alone time.
It's important. Everybody does.
I can't go golf with a group of guys and feel better. I have to relinquish all of my self emotions, all my different for me, I don't know why, but I've dubbed like conversations as like transactions. Am I giving more than I'm receiving? Or am I getting more than I'm giving?
Sure.
And so how can I be myself and also be a light in someone else's life? How can I gravitate towards the people that are giving me their time and their heart? And that's like been my struggle for a long time, and I'm still battling that. I don't know if I don't think it answers the question that you're asking or means anything
It
to
answers
anybody
for
out
you.
there,
Yeah.
but
I think it's a good
this is a very like difficult topic for me in this moment in my life, and I feel like I have a problem every time I come on here. But
no.
it's all I'm trying to do is my priorities right now, I'm trying to get back into the gym. I'm trying to not drink so much. I'm trying to stay present in my relationship. I'm trying to do things around the house and not be lazy because I fall into that. I want to just watch movies for 2 days because I'm on the road for a week and I'm exhausted. And I've been drinking and smoking for 5 days straight. and all I want to do is sit and watch movies.
So,
But I
you've
have
been
to be
on for
present,
everyone else.
But I've been on for everybody else. I have to come home and I have to find that energy if this is a relationship that I want to move forward and be with my person that I say that I love and that I do love. So those are my priorities.
Sure.
And
First of
I
all-
hope that answers
No. First, I want to
for someone
I want to
in my
I want to
experience.
speak on that. I'm proud of you. I know these are difficult questions and subjects we're discussing, but the fact that you're vulnerable enough to share that with us, thank you, Nate.
So mic up. There
Sorry,
you go.
I'm Harvard. I'm sorry. I'm happy that you were able to share this
It was
with
just
us,
the
to be
angle.
vulnerable enough to let us know how you're feeling, and the fact that what you just described is it's a good thing. What all of us should be striving to do. Everything you said that you're trying to work on is nothing but great stuff. And the fact that you see that and you do struggle, but you're also recognizing it. Fuck yeah, man. That's half the battle right there. The fact that you recognize it, and whether it takes you 2 years to get it figured out, at least you have the recognition of it, and you're trying to move in the right
It's a
direction.
lifetime, man.
And
It
it's
takes a
okay.
lifetime.
That's fine, but you're still trying to do the right thing, and I'm proud of you for that.
Thanks.
I think what you really just said, I think brought it all home, because everyone struggles and we're all trying, but there's a lot of people that don't even fucking say that. There's a lot of people that keep all this shit buried inside and don't even let it out. The fact that you did tonight, kudos, just makes me more of a respect and love you more as a friend than I did before we started the show.
Thanks,
So
brother.
I'm proud of you.
Dink.
Thank you for sinking me.
So my closing remarks is to echo Sean, Nate, Sean,
Mhm.
Jake.
Yep.
Hi.
We're here.
No, I mean what you guys said is what you said, Sean, is it's opening up.
Mm-hmm.
Communication is so important in every aspect of your life, right? So you guys talk about customer service, not like it's dead, right? You know, and sometimes you think that you can relate to people with negativity, and you can. You absolutely can, because everyone's dealing with that, right?
Not to interrupt, but do you know what that is called? I just learned that term.
What is it?
It's called trauma bonding.
Sure, yeah.
That makes sense.
And I
No,
like,
I mean,
I
it
just
makes
heard
sense.
that for like
Yeah.
the first time, like not long ago, and I'm like, why is that an epiphany? Like, because that's exactly what it is.
So it used to be called Misery Loves Company.
Right. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. R.I.P.
No shit.
Robert Duvall.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, absolutely.
I got you.
No, I think that hobbies are important. I think that if we could all learn to, sorry, Jake, find a balance in our lives. No. I'm
No,
just
no,
saying
no,
that
no.
is that
I'm not saying I hate it. It just
No,
doesn't work
but
for
you're
me.
doing it.
I
but you're doing it whether you want to or not.
prioritize it. the
If it
best
works
I
for
can.
you, I'm happy for you.
No, I try to prioritize the best I can. I know that, like with this podcast, is that I am doing my best to respect my wife, and she has her life. We share a home together, and we host this podcast in the garage, right? And we have had struggles with that of when I have people over after hours and all that stuff. Sometimes I do think that what we're talking about tonight is important. So I'm not going to try to push her too far. But at the same time, is that I try to do my best to balance the priorities of what's happening. And so this conversation is important to me.
Sure.
And that is up to her and other people to figure out if they respect that, as long as I'm respectful to them,
Yeah.
to her.
That's the $1 million statement right there.
And it is. And it's always a tough thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes there's hard lines in the sand. And sometimes it's, I know that I am comfortable now in respecting the priorities of people that are important to me.
Mm-hmm.
I still prioritize her over others.
Sure.
And other times that like this is going to last a little bit longer than what we have talked about of having you guys here and doing this show with our audience. I feel strongly with the fact that there is a priority to making yourself happy, but not at all costs. With hobbies, with your lifestyle, with hobbies that become your lifestyle. This is something that I have struggled with. I know you have struggled with, Jake. I know all of us have struggled with, is that this goes back to what I said. What makes you happy when you are riding that wave? You really need to embrace it and find the best practices of what has gotten to you that point.
Or just enjoy the time that you're having.
But put effort behind it. Don't just ride the wave. Try to keep the wave going as long as you can, knowing that the other shoe is going to drop. Something's going to something you do, or something that someone else does, or something that happens to you, or something that happens to someone that's important to you. It's going to happen in life. But the big thing for me is that how do I get to the point that I try to keep the positivity higher than the negativity, so that when that negativity rises up, something happens, that support's still there, that you did everything you could.
Yep.
How is it that you can make sure that your core, your foundation is strong enough to survive the outside factors, the outside waves, when that wave's going to crash? How do you figure it out that you have surrounded yourself with people, especially with a significant other, your family, or an employer that actually supports you? And the only reason that I think that they're going to support you is because they know that you support them.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's good.
Amen.
You are doing your best all the time. You will have your shortcomings. You will have your weaknesses. You'll have your hurdles that you can't get over. And as long as you're not leaning into them all the time, and they can lean into you when they
need you,
because they're going to have the same thing. All these lives that we live, we're all going our own paths. But as soon as they become intermingled, that's the point where it's like, how can we make it even stronger? And when things are good, things are even exponentially stronger, because you have that support system. Friends, employers, and most importantly, if you find that significant other, you find that person in your life that has that part of it, and they are invested in you and you are invested in them, is you can have your hobbies, you can have your time away, they can have their time away. There's no jealousy, there's no ill will, there's no resentment. It is literally, it's like, I will be a part of it the best I can, and at the very least, I will support you in that. And if you ask the same, that's when it's not an escape. It's not an obsession. This is something that I'm doing for you, for us, for myself. And I think that's something that doesn't happen enough, because a lot of times is when things aren't going well, you escape. When things are going well, I asked this panel tonight, and there's not a very easy answer of when things are going well, what do you do to keep things going well? And the response was on the table on the panel was, something's going to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it will. But that's where you keep building the foundation the best you can.
Yeah. I love it.
Why are we happy? Do we need something different? Do you need something different? Do I need something different? And a lot of times it's always looking for the next step. And sometimes the next step is there or is coming, but it is the foundation. That is what you can't break down a strong foundation.
Right.
It will stand up to any erosion of any outside factors, and anything that you do, they do, to a point where you put that other person first. But most importantly, in my opinion, is you are making yourself happy first, because as soon as you're happy, you are that foundation.
And it reflects.
And
No, it's going to be a hard act to follow real quick, and I'll be very quick with it. But, I mentioned earlier about the present thing. I don't mean to like be present all the time. That's impossible. Right. So I think there's times where you become overwhelmed with what you're worrying about or dwelling on, is just to take a 5-minute break and just do that for 5 minutes. It'll reset you, and then maybe be able to move on, and then you're done, but I think it's a good thing to have as like a tool. But backing on what you said, is when you are happy is because it's a defense mechanism to want to worry about the future. Again, that's projecting. That's worrying about something you have no control of, and it may not even happen. So enjoy it while you have it, ride that wave, and be happy with where you are at that present time. And I think that when and I'm guilty, I mentioned it to you one at the Tinder Box, like I'm just waiting for the shoe drop. Like that just fucked me up because it already had my mindset of like,
you can't even enjoy the good time.
No. So allowing yourself just to have that moment. And I think by doing that, that's reflected on your significant other. They see that, and it's addictive. And it's like, like when my wife's happy, I feel great, and I know or vice versa. Like it's hard to be with somebody when they're having a rough time. You can support them, but a lot of times it's up to them to decide how they want to be. You can offer suggestions or whatever, but it's ultimately up to you to make that decision. Now, and that's kind of how I'm going to leave with that. One more thing for Jake, what you just said earlier and how much I commend you on it. You know what all that was you were talking about? Balance.
Nope. You're just like some other Tony Robbins character.
If you have anything,
I love you.
if you have any goal in life when things are going well, is to keep the honeymoon phase alive.
Yep.
Because the saying is that when the honeymoon phase ends, that's when life begins. And I am determined, and I fail a lot at it, but I keep getting back up and doing it. I try to keep the honeymoon phase going at this point.
Oh yeah, brother. Good for you.
I'd rather have more resiliency,
But that's the
to
thing.
deal with problems than focus on keeping the good times rolling.
No, but
at
I'm
this
saying,
point.
I get what you're saying, but I will leave it at this: is that when that happens, it's not euphoria or ignorance is bliss type
Right.
honeymoon phase.
Yeah, I get it.
It is put that effort in. When you were trying to get that job, when you're trying to get the girl, when you're trying to get
How do
your
you keep
best
the
self,
fire?
is keep the fire, keep it going, and strive for that honeymoon phase. in
Fire.
life.
Mm-hmm. Just reconnecting with somebody when you get in that really rough phase, it's easy to disassociate with who you're with and cut everybody out of what you're doing or whatever. And you use that as escape or hobby, or whatever you want to call it, as a bad way. But I think when you allow yourself to be in that moment, it allows you to reconnect and to say, wow, man, I just, like, for example, tonight, all this we discussed tonight is something that, like, I feel so much fucking better because we let a lot of shit out. Just letting it out is half the battle.
Is number one.
Yeah. And I feel like the weight is off my shoulders again. I feel ready to take on tomorrow. So
Creating your best self will bring a lot.
I'm just happy that I can always push this these episodes past 3 hours. So thank you.
Cheers. Happy Whiskey Wednesday, bro. Jake, we'll see you in a few months. Jake Sanders will be at the Smoking Tent event on March 15th.
I will. Let's have a party, folks.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks.